This requires 2 witnesses to the signature of the owner as part of the notarized power of attorney. If a representative does not qualify as stated above or have a valid power of attorney, they may not represent or present any evidence on behalf of the property owner. The case will be heard in absentia and adjudicated based upon the facts presented by the city. This hearing is conducted in an informal manner. There are no formal rules of evidence. However, all discussion, presentation, and questions are limited to matters relating directly to the violations cited. After all the evidence is presented, the board will determine by majority vote whether the respondent is guilty or not guilty. If the board finds the respondent guilty, the board will order the respondent to correct the violation by a certain date. If the violation is not corrected by that date, the board may impose a fine as stated above. The respondent may also be charged the cost of prosecution and up to $5,000 or $15,000 for specified code violations as a one-time fine for violations that are considered irreparable or irreversible in nature by the board. It is the violator's responsibility to notify the city's code compliance department when the violation has been corrected. If the violation is not corrected by the required date, a fine shall be imposed without further hearing. The fine imposed will be recorded as a lien against the cited property and against other real or personal property owned by the violator. To pay applicable fines and or liens, visit www.miamigov.com and in the search queue type "Make a Payment." If you need to request an extension of time, you may do so online by visiting www.miamigov.com and in the search queue type "Extension of Time." Extensions may only be requested before the time to comply has expired. Lastly, any orders entered by the board may be appealed to the 11th Judicial Circuit Court of Florida within 30 days. And before we start, as I've done in the past, I'd just like to remind the board that the board's function is to hear and take the respondent and the city's position and deliberate and adjudicate. Any recommendations as to what the violator should or shouldn't do to cure the violation need to be taken up with the inspectors who are sitting at the far end of the room, and they could speak outside. And I understand the city attorney has a announcement about ethics training.
So, Madam Chair, we are in the process and we'll be emailing the board members. We're going to be doing training of our board members the last 2 weeks in June, and we'll ask for dates that people are available, and the mandatory ethics training last 2 weeks in June. It'll be very informal. We will post notice. We will hold it in the conference room of the city attorney's office. And that way we can have an exchange of questions and any issues that the board members want. But I will be reaching out through Melanie Fincher in order to schedule that.
Thank you.
Okay, ready to begin. First case, this is in the City View agenda. This is a to be heard. The case number is CE 2021-005-090, address 3825 Florida Avenue. This is page 1 to be heard in the City View agenda. Again, the address is 3825 Florida Avenue. Page 1 in the City View agenda. You may come to the podium. Here, sir.
Good evening. Please state your name and address.
Good evening, Richard Holton. The address in question is 3825 Florida Avenue, Miami 33133.
Mr. Holton, and who's the property owner?
I am the property owner.
Oh, you are the property owner.
Yeah.
Perfect, thank you. Guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
Thank you. We'll let the city present its case. We'll come back to you for comments.
Say
Thank
it
you.
again. Okay, thank you.
Sorry,
We'll come back to you for comments.
I can't.
Guilty.
Say it again.
The city, we're going to let the city present its case against you.
And
Once they finish discussing it, we'll come back to you for comments.
Okay.
Thank
And
you.
sir, you pled guilty, correct?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Inspector, please provide your name, position, and a brief synopsis.
Okay. Good evening. I'm Senior Inspector Troutman, Central Office. I was working with Mr. Halton and his team of his GC, his developer, and also his architect. We all met out the property a couple weeks ago because he's trying to bring the property into compliance. He purchased a property and it's currently a rooming house. There are several tenants living there. He's providing affordable housing and he's trying to convert it legally into additional affordable housing. That's his objective and his plan. So at this point, he's bringing the property into compliance. He has a team that's working towards progress. And I would suggest that he have at minimum 60 days.
Okay, I think legal would recommend, since he does have his team in place, 120 days, Director.
So I spoke with Mr. Holton briefly. I like to help him as much as possible, but I do have a concern. This case goes back to 2021. And in reflecting in iBuild, I'm putting that into the record. I see that 2 previous permits have expired. So my legal division chief and I are usually on the same page, but I'm going to go a little bit lower. Instead of 120, let's give him 90, so then he can come and do an EOT and request an extension of time that he will need.
Okay,
So-
and so we're requesting guilty 90 days to come into compliance, $250 a day thereafter until compliance is achieved.
Thank you. Mr. Holton, I'm sorry. Mr. Holton, any comments? Have you presented the application to the city yet?
We've not submitted an application yet, but one comment I'd like to make is the fact that I do have senior citizens that's been residing on my property for the past 25, some 15 years, 2 cancer patients, and they're all from West Grove. It has always been my concern to try to have affordability for those folk that have been there who can't afford to go anywhere else. So although the 30, 60, or 90 days may sound good, I have people that don't have anywhere to go. And I'm going to have to try to find the finances in order to comply. I want to comply. I'm not trying to run away from anything, but I need time. I need time.
Right.
I got folk that, again, with cancer, and they're all in their 60s and 70s. And I got to find a place. I have Mr. Rashad here who's helping me to do that, to try to find the finances. And I already have my construction manager right here. Mr. Leonard, the papers are here, have been drawn up. So, you know, we're trying to comply as best as possible.
Understood, but sir, remember the 90 days are so that you can keep the inspector abreast, and then before 90 days are up, you apply for an extension of time. She will support it if in fact you're moving forward to give you more time. But because this is such an old case, that is why the director is recommending 90 days to start so that you can provide copies of the plans and everything that is happening in order to bring the property into compliance. And the inspector will explain to you how you ask for an extension of time after the case is heard.
Okay, thank you. I want to compliment the inspector for doing a fine job. She's been working with us
Thank
accordingly.
you.
So
We're
thank you
very proud
much.
of her as well.
Thank you.
If you can, once we're done here, we're not done yet, we need to vote. If you can please go outside and speak to her so she can keep you informed of different things that you can do that might assist you.
I'm having a hard time trying to understand. You want me to go outside and meet
No,
with her?
after the board decides.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
How many days? 90 days?
90 days.
Okay.
And the per
250?
diem?
250.
250.
And inspector, please be sure and explain to them how they go about the extension of time process and what the board will be asking them at that hearing.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Inspector, can you stay put? You have 2 more cases that I'm calling.
With
sorry.
her?
Yes, with her.
Okay.
Next case, please.
Yes, calling page 5. This is also City View Agenda with Inspector Troutman. The address is 3664 Grand Avenue. Case number is CE 2021-012-362. Address 3664 Grand Avenue, page 5, City View Agenda to be heard.
Good evening. Please state your name and address.
My name is Dr. Denise Wallace.
Guilty or not guilty?
This is, Madam Chair, this is an extension of time.
Oh, it's an extension of time. It's not.
And
considered.
the board adjudicated this case last year. And Mr. Nemens and I, since that time, have been meeting with the entire team of Ace Theater. Ace Theater is a historic property. And we were able to schedule meetings with the Historic Preservation Department that helped them apply for certain grants. She has hired an architect. She has hired a contractor. So they're moving forward in a positive manner. I did speak with the director, and we agree that a 180-day extension is appropriate under the circumstances because she does meet with us every month. And part of it is we're trying to help her through the whole process.
So a friendly amendment, because we were originally under the impression that she was asking for an extension of time. There's been, I'm looking at the case right before you, look. And we've gotten deferrals every time. So
Okay,
I will not object to the 180, and I think we will continue to offer extensions of time. But if there is an admission of guilt, we'll do a very quick synopsis, adjudicate, and provide the 180.
okay. So I apologize. This is a new matter on failure to maintain, and I guess that's why, and the chairman.
Yes, I remember she was here last time or a few months ago, and
Right.
it was because she hadn't painted. They had asked her to paint outside the building, and she didn't have the funds to do it.
Right.
But I forgot to ask her address, or she didn't say her address. So if you please can say your address for the record.
Okay, my address, my personal address is 3391 Florida Avenue. However, the corporate address is 12605 Southwest 93rd Avenue, Miami, Florida, 33176.
What have you been able to do so far?
Well, this building is unique in its process. We have to get Section 106 approval from the National Park Service before we can do anything with their funds. We have an email from the National Park Service on April 4th from the grant manager saying that the Section 106 review has been completed. He's forwarded the Section 106 review to the state SHPO, which is in Tallahassee. He's waiting for Tallahassee to come back, and he said on April 4th that it should be a 2 to 3 week turnaround time. And I have that information, so I can tender that as part of the file if necessary. So at this point in time, I spoke to my architect and my structural engineer. Those plans should be finalized because they have gotten information from the National Park Service. National Park Service wanted some information because there's going to be some ground disturbance, meaning we have to add an elevator. And because of that, they had to have additional information from the structural engineer as to how that would impact this historic property. So it's been a process. The city has been phenomenal partners with me in understanding that this is just not a turnkey operation. And because of the different bureaucracies involved, the city and the HEP board, and then the National Park Service, who's the grant funder, and the state SHPO, which is in Tallahassee.
Understood.
It's a long process that
Well, we understand.
that doesn't get
Understood.
done overnight.
But what the chairman was asking you, if you pled guilty to the failure to maintain.
Yes,
Yes.
I'm not disputing that.
Okay, so we're requesting guilty, 180 days, $250 a day thereafter until compliance is achieved.
Perfect. Do I have a motion?
Before we
Oh, I thought-
motion, just the, Director.
Yes.
Didn't we change the code as it pertained to the painting of a building as I know, but we weren't violating those anymore as a result, correct?
So that's a good point, because we were working on that and it kind of got deferred.
Okay,
So the challenge for the respondent, this is a historic site, right?
Yes.
You know, the painting that you and I spoke and the board
Mhm.
was for boards, right? As board ups, that they look rather unsightly.
Mm.
This is a historic site. We need to treat it a little different.
yes,
And I want to provide the respondent ample time to work with Tallahassee and anyone else so they can do the job correctly.
okay.
So yes, to your point, but that got deferred. I'm hoping to bring it back to full commission very soon.
If I may, the building has been painted,
Okay?
and the building has been painted. It
Okay.
was painted back then, so
Okay.
that's no longer there. And I have an updated picture where actually the marquee has been sealed off so that,
Mhm.
and I can put them into the record. So you're not seeing that exposed marquee as of maybe 2-3 weeks ago.
Okay,
Okay,
Okay.
that's
excellent.
fine, and she'll inspect at the
Okay.
appropriate time. Inspector Troutman will inspect.
Okay.
Okay?
Motion,
Okay, so do I have a motion?
motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
You have 180 days.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Inspector Troutman, you have one more case, I'm sorry. Calling page 2, this is also City View Agenda, page 2, address 3780 Florida Avenue, case number CE 2021-009447. Again, address 3780 Florida Avenue, page 2, City View Agenda.
Good evening. Please state your name and address.
Demetrius Capers, 3780 Florida Avenue.
Guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
Thank you. We'll let the city present its case. We'll come back to you for comments.
Inspector, your name and position and a brief synopsis.
Good evening, Inspector Troutman, Central Office. So I was working with Mr. Demetrius Capers on this property for a while. He just gave me an update. He's bringing the property into compliance. He has his contractor here with him. They're making the decision. They're going to revert it back to the original plans of the city of Miami. So right now they have plans. They're working towards bringing that property into compliance. Based on our conversations and based on the evidence here, I would give them 120 days due to the time it takes to process a permit.
Okay, and this is a commercial property?
Yes,
No.
I cited him for a rooming house.
A rooming house.
So this property is also a rooming house.
Okay,
No
so
certificate of use, no
120
DTR.
days, $250 a day thereafter until compliance is achieved.
Yes.
Mr. Capers, is there anything you'd like to say? You're fine with 120 days?
Yeah.
Great, thank you. Do I have a motion or any comments from the board?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. You have 120 days. Make sure you communicate with your inspector. Thank you.
250, yes.
250.
Next case. This is page 41. We are now in the code check agenda, page 41, and he's also here for page 44. Page 41, the address is 1905 Northwest First Court, case number 000-76354. Page 44, address 1950 Northwest First Avenue, case number 000-76355. This is page 41 and page 44 in the code check agenda.
Okay.
Good evening. Please state your name and address.
Good evening, members of the board. David Moscoso, 2525 Ponce de Leon Boulevard, Coral Gables, Florida.
Guilty or not guilty, Mr. Mocoso?
Guilty.
Thank you.
Okay. Inspector, state your name and position and provide a brief synopsis.
Inspector Charlene McQueen Pender, Central Office, Code Inspector. I spoke with the attorney. I haven't had contact with the gentleman involved, but I spoke with the attorney today, and he needs 60 days.
60 days.
They applied for the PZ number. It's for a parking lot, it's two parking lots. One of them is already in compliance, and the other one has been applied for to come into compliance. The only issue is they did some little work on the side to build a piece of concrete to access the gate. So he's gonna remove that. And if not, he will have to get a perform work without permit. So I told him it'll be easier to remove that than to try to get the permit to bring the property in compliance faster, along with the PZ number that he already applied for with planning.
So on the first one, the illegal parking lot, you're recommending, this is for Northwest First Court. You're recommending how much time?
60 days.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so where,
1950 is already compliant. 1950 sits on the other side, and there's nothing on that lot.
okay, I'll be right there. So with regard to 1905 Northwest First Court, guilty, 60 days to come into compliance, $500 a day thereafter.
Mr. Mocoso, is there anything you'd like to say?
No, other than this is part and parcel with the same, similar cases that I presented about a month ago, where we're working with the city for the creation of a TCU. I have communications here, which I can share with each one of you. I brought enough copies for all of you to review our communications that we've had with the city manager as recently as this Saturday. The assistant building director, which has assured us that there is an item going before PZAB for the creation of the TCU, which is going to take between 60 and 90 days. So I'm happy to share copies of these communications with you. And yeah, our ask is for that time frame so that we can have the creation of the TCU, apply under the TCU, but also continue the application of the interim parking permit. And I think that timeline is appropriate. And so, yes, I would accept that.
Motion.
Understood. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
You
Okay.
have 60 days
Thank
on
you.
this
Now,
property.
Inspector, you said that 1950 Northwest First Avenue is
Yes.
complied?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so one down, one to go.
That's it? Yeah.
Thank you.
That's it
That's it.
for this case.
I'd like to announce the arrival of member Martin Zilber.
Have a good evening. Thank you all for your
Thank you.
service.
Good
We
night.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Calling next case. This is page 58. They are also here for page 61, 64, and 66. I'll call page 58, address 125 Northeast 20th Street, case number 000-59517. Page 61, address 135 Northeast 20th Street, case number 000-59516. Page 64, address 145 Northeast 20th Street, case number 000-59512. Page 66, address 141 Northeast 20th Street, case number 000-59513. Page 66. This is page 58, page 61, 64, 66, to be heard in the code check agenda.
Good evening. Please state your name and address.
Hi, good afternoon. Pedro Villa, attorney for the owner, Edgewater 20 LLC, 3050 Biscayne, Suite 400, Miami, Florida.
Guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
Thank you.
Okay, Inspector, please provide a brief synopsis and your recommendation. Now, I'm sorry, Counselor, what was your name?
Pedro Villa.
Counselor Villa, are all the properties, I believe that they all have the same violation, correct?
No,
Oh,
one of them is separate. 125 is separate. So if we could hear them
Okay.
separately, that'd be fine.
okay. So, brief
Okay, so Marcelo Lazarique, central office. The main concern here was that they were letting their swale getting overgrown, and it took them quite a few months to actually address the situation. There was also outside storage in 2 of the properties. This is excluding 125. They have since complied. I went out there last week with him, but I told them it took months for him to comply, so it was just for an adjudication purpose, and that way they stay on top of it and keep it clear how it is now.
And so that makes complete sense. And I would just, as a extra precaution, probably provide somewhere, say, adjudicated and provide anywhere between 15 and 30 days. So that way, there's no issues, but the adjudication it's in place. And if it happens in the future, we'll address as a repeat.
Okay,
Thank
and this is a corporate entity, so we're asking guilty. Is it 15 days?
15 days.
$500 a day thereafter, unless you would like 30 days in the event that something happens that you can't get to it.
No, I think for those 3 properties, we're already in compliance. So
Yeah,
I
for
think
those
that-
3, anytime, I could go tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right, but we're listening to one at a time. So
Yes,
now we're
we are.
listening to page 58.
That's-
the
Right,
125.
it's
That's correct.
15 days
Which was
sufficient for
page
you.
Yes.
58?
Yes,
Okay.
it is.
15 days,
125.
$500
No,
a day
125 is
thereafter.
separate.
20th Street.
125 is separate. That one is,
That's what we're listening now. We're
Oh,
talking
Okay,
about it.
right,
no,
guilty, 15.
Wait. The inspector has the wrong property,
yeah.
correct?
So 125 is the only one that's not yet complied.
Okay.
Understood. He's saying that 15 days is sufficient. Are you sure you're not complied?
Let's give them 30.
Yeah, 30 days would be fine.
Perfect. Do I have a motion?
Motion for 30.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
So that was guilty, 30 days, $500 a day thereafter.
Page 58. So the next one is?
Page 61, address 135 Northeast 20th Street, case number 000-59516, page 61.
So are they saying
For
this
the
is
record.
complied?
Please state your name and address.
Mr. Villa.
Are they saying this is complied already?
We haven't, we're doing.
We're going to go case by
They're
case.
just
Okay.
adjudicating.
No problem.
So let him respond, Mr. Villa.
Excuse me,
Okay.
I'm sorry. Yes, your
problem.
name and address again.
Yeah, Pedro Villa, 3050 Biscayne Boulevard, Miami, Florida.
Guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
Thank you.
Inspector, please, your name and a brief synopsis.
Marcelo Lazariquez, Central Office. The violation here was, again, the swale was overgrown, and then they were also storing, they had appliances, couches, and all that being stored outside of the property. It has since been removed, but again, it took them quite a few months, which was way past the deadline. So this would just be for an adjudication of guilt.
Okay, and so guilty, 15 days, 500, correct?
Yes.
Motion as stated.
Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
15 days for this one.
Yes.
Thank you. Next one? Page?
Page 64, address 145 Northeast 20th Street, case number 000-59512, page 64, address 145 Northeast 20th Street.
Name and
Pedro-
address?
Yes. Pedro Villa, 3050 Biscayne Boulevard.
Guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
Thank you.
Inspector, your name and a brief synopsis.
Marcelo Lazariquez, Central Office. There was, the swale was overgrown and there was debris being stored inside. It has since been removed, but it took quite a long time for them to comply, so we're just seeking an adjudication of guilt.
So guilty, 15 days, $500 a day thereafter.
You okay with
Okay.
15?
Yes.
Motion as stated.
Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
15 days on this one.
Okay.
Page 66, address 141 Northeast 20th Street, case number 000-59513, page 66, address 141 Northeast 20th Street.
Name and address, please.
Pedro Villa, 3050 Biscayne Boulevard.
Guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
Thank you.
Marcelo
Inspector,
Lazariquez, Central Office. Again, this is overgrown grass. The swale was overgrown. They have since cut it, but it took quite a few months to address the situation, so we're just seeking an adjudication of guilt.
okay. Guilty, 15 days, $500 a day thereafter.
Do I have a-
Motion as stated.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Board.
15 days.
So-
Thank you.
Counselor, just so that you know, if within the next 5 years, this property owner gets cited, they will be treated as a repeat violator with either $1,000 a day or $5,000 a day fine. So they need to stay on top of it. Okay? Thank you,
Great.
sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Calling next case. This is also to be heard, code check agenda. This is page 111, address 2735 Southwest 13th Street, case number 000-76270, address 2735 Southwest 13th Street, page 111.
Good afternoon. Please state your name and address.
Zoe Santeiro, 20, the property address? The property address?
Your address. If it's a property,
No, my address is 8436 Dundee Terrace, Miami Lakes.
Ms. Santedo, guilty or not guilty?
Guilty, but if I can give an explanation, please.
Thank you.
Okay. Inspector, please state your name and official position.
Vanessa Pino, Code Compliance Southeast Office.
And did you issue a citation to the property at 2735 Southwest 13th Street?
Yes.
Okay, the property owner has pled guilty but wishes to provide comments to the board after, which is wholly appropriate. Can you please give a summary to the board?
Yes. So I received this complaint from my neighborhood resource officer in reference to a short-term rental. That because there was a theft. It wasn't for a loud party or anything. It was a theft of belongings that belonged to the house. And somebody who had rented on the short-term rental website had taken these items, so they did a police report for that. I did find it on VRBO. The listings were removed immediately. She contacted me immediately. She has already evicted the tenants. remove the listings. And she has already gotten a contractor who has also contacted me. She gave me access to the entire property, and it is already vacant. So the violations are open for adjudication purposes, and now she just needs more time to deal with the work that was done without a permit.
But is that a separate violation? Or is it part of
in
this
case.
file?
Yes, it's in this case. So she needs to get permits for the garage enclosure that has a bedroom and bathroom, the rear unit bathroom and kitchen, as well as a utility room. Everything else is legal, and like I said, she just needs time for
How
that.
much time are you recommending?
I would say 120 days.
Okay.
Has she started the process, Inspector? or-
I'm sorry?
Has she started the process?
She already hired a contractor, and he did reach out to me. I believe he already visited the property to start the process of doing the survey. But I'll let her.
Nothing has
explain
been filed
that part.
yet.
I'm
Okay.
sorry?
Nothing has been filed yet.
No, this is a fairly new case.
4 months old.
I'm looking at iBuild right now. give me a minute. I'm gonna
Okay.
tell you right now.
I checked
Through
this
the
morning.
chair, question?
He was taking measurements to do a survey, I believe.
Inspector, my question for you is that so this was a short-term rental
Yes,
initially, and then you found other stuff? Or-
correct.
Okay. Madam Attorney, this is what I was saying. It's unfair to a homeowner who rents out a place.
Well, she doesn't live there. This is-
But that's the homeowner?
She's a homeowner, but she doesn't live there. This is a business. It's owned by a corporation.
But the tenant is the one that rented it out.
Correct. The tenant was the one doing the short-term rental. She
Right.
was not aware of that.
Correct.
She has since already evicted him.
And Madam Attorney, this is where I was talking about last meeting, where at some point, we got to get an affidavit filed with the short-term rental companies, because if an owner doesn't know what their
Right.
tenant is doing, they shouldn't be on the hook for it.
Yeah, but she's not on the hook for
Right,
that. She's
so-
on the
I
hook
know,
for the
but it's
So
just-
what we do,
It's a situation where we're gonna
right,
keep seeing
and,
it.
and yes, Mr. Williams, absolutely. And we're in the process of setting up a meeting, having said that, with you. Having said that, this is a corporate entity. So not only do we post the property, we also, mail the property, and then we mail the registered agent. I'm assuming that she has a relationship with the individual that she's designated as her registered agent, who would say to her immediately, hey, we got a notice of violation, and they're saying we're having a short-term rental situation. So there's not much more the city can do. The property owner has to be on top of what they're doing. So how much time did you say? I'm sorry, Inspector?
I would say at least 120 days.
Okay, so guilty, 120 days, $500 a day thereafter until compliance is achieved. And ma'am, just talk to the inspector afterwards in case you need more time. She will tell you how to apply for an extension of time.
Ms. Santero, any comments?
Yes. The moment I received the notice on the door, I had already started the eviction because the tenants had stopped paying. The tenants were evicted in December. The moment that was, it was a big mess for me and a hardship also because these tenants were bad tenants. They were renting out this unit illegally. Now I evicted them. It took months to get them out. They knew, obviously they worked the system because they right when it was supposed to go to court, when I thought, well, maybe I'll be able to go to court and file and sue these people because of what they've done, they left the they let me, what is it called?
Before you got the writ?
Yes.
They left?
Yes. it
Before
was
you had
just-
the rights to go back into
Right.
the property?
So that all, I want you to know, the moment I found out, I did everything I could to get them out of there.
Understood.
The last thing I would want would have been a short-term rental. Aside from that, if you all also know that this has just taken me for a loop because in 2016, when that property was purchased, we did an appraisal and a survey and all of these things. I had no idea that there were things that weren't, so I'm sorry. I'm pleading guilty because I understand the process, But this is all, it's a hardship because now I
You're
have to-
not the only
I'm
one.
sure like everyone else has a hardship.
We see that day in and day out, and unfortunately, the person that purchased the property is responsible. It's,
And I want to, again, I want to thank the inspector because she's been so kind. Because this has been an ordeal for me. I had never.
Understood.
And the reason also, the reason it's a corporation, it's because it's a rental property and this is how I was advised to do this. So
Not a problem.
just so you all know that I'm working with a contractor who's already taken his architect.
Yes.
I've already paid him. I have the
inspector stated that. So we're good?
We're good.
120 days, you're good with that?
Whatever the max.
Well, you can come back, you'll speak to her, you can come back and request more time. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion as stated, and then I want to piggyback on what Mr. Williams was saying to our city attorney, that, Madam City Attorney, when you are dealing with Airbnb and many of these companies, there should be a disclaimer. Number one, there's two things that we should try to do, because we have residents, we're running into this all the time, where they're already at a hardship for when they've actually made a 12-month lease.
Yep.
So there has to be a way that we can write some city code to actually help our own residents that are trying to make a 12-month lease, number one. And then number two, in the city of Miami, we could write code where they actually have to put disclaimers whenever they're advertising in the city of Miami, such as Airbnb, because they're advertising for people to rent out their homes as if they can do it legally. And it's Airbnb that actually knows the addresses of all of these properties, and they should be the ones to be put on the hook themselves to have to put a disclaimer within the city of Miami.
We've already had litigation with Airbnb regarding those specific issues. In addition, I briefed the chairwoman earlier today. There is a bill in Tallahassee for the governor's signature that any regulations on short-term rentals that were in existence prior to July 2011 can stay on the books. Anything after, so any amendments that we would do to our code and the provisions of the short-term rental would be voided by that bill, so we cannot do that. So I encourage everybody to call the governor because these issues are, and our quality of life, and while I can have sympathy for this property owner, she has a registered agent and it's an investment property for her. Having said that, the neighbors are living with these situations. So on balance, my sympathies go to the neighborhood that is having to deal with some, perhaps not yours, but these short-term rentals are horrible.
Completely. I mean, everybody in the entire city is dealing with it.
And I
as a
can
whole.
send a copy of that bill to all of you if you want to see it.
Thank you. We have a first. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
You have 120 days. Thank you.
And that's guilty, $120, $500 a day thereafter.
Correct.
Thank you. Calling next case. This is page 6 to be heard in the code check agenda. Address 5131 West Flagler Street. Case number 000-51379. Address 5131 West Flagler Street. Page 6 to be heard. Code check agenda.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Please state your name and address.
Lily Moretti, 13803 Southwest 50th Terrace.
Can you speak a little bit more into the mic?
Oh,
Because I hear you very low.
Lily, you got it? Lily Moretti,
Yes.
13803 Southwest 50th Terrace.
Thank you. Are you guilty or not guilty? Thank you so much. We'll let the city present its case.
Inspector, please state your name and your position and provide a brief synopsis.
Yes, good evening. This is Russell Hernandez with the Southwest office. This was part of the hotel motel task force that we did with police. This property was basically in compliance with everything but their certificate of use. Well, one of the certificates of use was for multifamily housing, should be for lodging as they're operating as a motel. So they basically just need to do a change of use, then be able to apply for the certificate of use. And the business tax receipt is actually for a motel. So they're actually operating within that scope, but they're outside of the scope of the certificate of use. So they just need time to basically complete that process.
How much time?
Not sure how far along they are with the process, but I would say at least 60 to 90 days.
So 90 days, and is this a corporate entity?
Yes.
It's a trust, I believe.
It's a
So
trust.
90 days, $500 a day thereafter.
Would you like
That's
to make
fine.
any comment? That's fine?
Yes.
Do I have a motion? No motion?
Does she want to say anything first?
She just said that was fine.
Okay, that's fine. Okay,
Yeah.
I'll make the motion as stated.
Do I have a second? Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Good luck.
Calling next case, this is page 21, code check agenda. The address is 1139 Northwest 22nd Avenue, case number 000-76403. Address 1139 Northwest 22nd Avenue, page 21, to be heard in the code check agenda.
Good evening. Please state your name and address.
𝐂𝐢𝐭𝐲, 1139 Northwest.
Does he need an interpreter? You can't. It has to be the interpreter, sorry. We need a Spanish-speaking interpreter. Thank you.
1139 Northwest, 22 Avenida, Éxito Supermarket. 𝐂𝐢𝐭𝐲.
Guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
Thank you.
Inspector, please give your name and a brief synopsis.
Inspector Torres with the BTR Task Force. I did a proactive inspection on the CU and BTR. These supermarket was operating without a CU and BTR. And also there were some gaming machines that were removed on a separate case, so that violation is complied. As far as I know, I've been in contact with the business owner and the permit runner, and they're waiting right now on Durham just to finalize the CU and the BTR from the county part. So I'm recommending 120 days just to be sure that they obtain the CU and the BTR.
And the reason that we're asking for 120 days is because they were cited March 5th. So it was fairly recent.
Thank you. Is he fine with 120 days? Is he okay with 120 days?
Sí.
Is there anything else you'd like to say?
So we're requesting guilty, 120 days, $500 a day.
Do I have a
thereafter.
motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
120 days. Thank you.
Calling next case. This is page 23. This is the code check agenda to be heard. Address is 1127 Northwest 22nd Avenue, case number 000-76402. Address 1127 Northwest 22nd Avenue, page 23, to be heard in the code check agenda.
Good evening. Please state your name and address.
Marlene Carrier, 1127 Northwest 22nd Avenue.
Guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
Thank you.
Inspector, please state your name and official position and provide a brief synopsis. Now, let me just ask real quickly, this is also JBD or JDB Realty LC?
Yeah, same.
Why is it a different, the gentlemen were over there.
Yeah, this kind of, I mean, they have a different addresses, but they're the same property owner.
They have a power of attorney. So the people before had a power of attorney. She has a power of attorney.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
All right, so Inspector Torres with the co-compliance inspector with the BTR task force. There was a proactive inspection for CU and BTR. There was a CU that was active on this location. However, these businesses advertising as VitaMax Medical Center. When I checked the active BTR, that was for a medical doctor, and it was under 150 square footage. Obviously, there's a difference there, so I'd advise the business owner to contact zoning just to make sure that the DVA VitaMax was included into the CU and the BTR, and also to fix the square footage discrepancy that it was found.
Okay.
How much time do you recommend?
How much time are you recommending?
Since they already did the DBA, is already in the system, so they're working with zoning. The business owner showed me an email from zoning today. So I'm recommending 90 days so they can finalize that permit.
Okay, so guilty 90 days, $500 a day thereafter until compliance is achieved.
Motion as stated.
You're fine with 90 days?
Yes.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
Motion as stated.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Calling next case, Inspector Torres, this is also your case, sorry about that. This is page 92, address is 1008 Southwest First Street, case number 000-73633. Page 92, to be heard in the code check agenda, address 1008 Southwest First Street.
Good evening. Please state your name and address.
Good afternoon, Marlene Hasner. I represent the property owner 𝐂𝐤𝐵𝐼. My address is 2250 Southwest 3rd Avenue, Suite 302.
Guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
Thank you.
Inspector, your name and a brief synopsis.
Inspector Torres with the Code Compliance Inspector, BTR Task Force. There was a proactive inspection for the CU and BTR. Business was operating without a CU and BTR. I made contact with a business owner. She basically purchased this business from the prior owner, and she didn't realize that the licenses, they're not going to be transferred once you buy the business, unless you buy the corporation. So she didn't know that. She's been in contact with me and also the property owner, and they're working on getting the CU and the BTR. So they already obtained the DBPR from the state, and they're just working with them, with the county, so they can finalize the CU and the BTR.
So guilty 120?
Guilty 120, that's fine.
Okay, so we're asking for guilty 120 days, $500 a day thereafter until compliance is achieved.
Ma'am, you're good with that?
Yes,
Thank you. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Have 120 days.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Calling next case. Looking to an extension. Just a moment. Not ready for those. Calling page 36, address is 2320 Northwest 26th Street, case number 000-80082, address 2320 Northwest 26th Street, page 36, to be heard in the code check agenda. Page 36.
Good evening. Please state your name and address.
2320 𝐂𝐢𝐭𝐲, 26.
Si no se oye.
2320 𝐂𝐢𝐭𝐲, 26 Street.
Su nombre? Your name?
Juan Carlos Hernández.
Guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
Guilty. Thank you.
Okay, Inspector Tyler, please provide a synopsis.
Okay, Inspector Tyler, after hours. Initially, I inspected this property on February the 18th for graffiti, lack of address, trash debris over the property. They have made attempts to clean the property up with the addressing and the graffiti, but every time I go over there, the swell area still looks pretty bad. So that's why we're here. Maybe they need to do more maintenance, more times a month or something, but the swell area is still looking pretty bad. But I think he told me earlier that as of today, it's clean, so I have to do another re-inspection.
What was the last time, Inspector, that you went by the property?
Sunday.
Thank you.
And what condition was it when you saw it?
Swell area still look bad.
Okay. So this is one that we clearly want the respondents to do a much better job on a construction site. It is their responsibility. And once it goes into the public right away, it becomes a mess, as you all know. So I think we provide reasonable time, 30 days, but a fine of $500 per day thereafter. And we're looking for compliance. That's all we want them to do.
Can I say one more thing? I think it may be just a matter of them getting over visiting the property for maintenance more often a month, because they keep saying it's clean. When I get there, it's not. So it may just need more maintenance per month, more visits to the property.
Thank you. Would you like to make any comments, sir?
No, tratamos de hacer lo mejor posible con la basura, pero
They're trying to do the best they can with the garbage,
pero vamos a tratar de hacerlo más
but
frecuentemente
we're
para
going to
que
try to do it more often, more frequent.
Okay, they're going to give him 30 days
$500 a day
and
thereafter.
$500 per day.
I'll make a motion for 5 days, but I would not want to live next to this for 30 days. $500 a day thereafter. So my motion's for 5 days, for 5 days to come into compliance, $500 a day thereafter. That's my motion.
That's her motion?
That's her motion.
Second.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in
Yo quiero decir
favor?
algo.
No.
Dile que yo quiero decir algo.
This person just got cited, February 18th.
It's garbage.
No, roll call.
Calling member Christie Tasker.
Yes.
Calling member Keon Williams.
Yes.
Thank you. Calling member Martin Zilber.
Yes.
Thank you. Calling Vice Chair John Kuhnel.
Yes.
Thank you. Calling Chair Yvonne Bayona.
No.
Calling member Rick Madan.
No.
Okay. It passes by a vote of 4-2. 5 days, $500.
You have 5
Eh,
days.
Quiero agregar que a mí tampoco me gustaría vivir en un lugar así,
He's adding that he would not like to live next to some place looking
pero
like that.
uno no puede estar al tanto de todas las cosas que pasan donde
But
uno
he says
está.
that one cannot be on
Entonces,
top of everything.
lamentablemente, a veces
So,
pasan esas cosas.
These things happen.
Okay.
Understood.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next
Thank
case.
you. Thank you, sir.
Calling page number 50. This is the to be heard code check agenda, page 50. Address 454 Northwest 22nd Avenue, Unit 106. Case number 000-73480, page 50. The address is 454 Northwest 22nd Avenue, Unit 106.
Nobody's here for that address?
No, he's here.
Oh, that's you?
Yes.
Good
Sorry.
evening.
Good
Please
evening.
state your name and address.
20 minutes.
Yes.
$500 after. No, I'm okay.
My apologies,
It's okay.
Madam Chair. Guillermo Cuadra, attorney for 466 Plaza Inc., property owner.
Guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
Thank you.
Inspector, please state your name and official position and provide a very brief synopsis.
Inspector Torres, co-compliance inspector with the BTR task force. There was an inspection done proactively for CU and BTR. Business was operating without a CU and a BTR. I contacted the business owner. She didn't know that they need to change the use for the services that she's offering at the location. As right now, they're working on the change of use. They have a building permit already on file. So they've been working with me and always communicating with me.
So how much time are you recommending?
I'm recommending 120 days for the change of use.
Okay, and so we're recommending guilty, 120 days, $500 a day thereafter. Counselor, is that acceptable?
That's acceptable.
Thank you. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
120 days.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Calling next case, we are in the city view agenda. This is page 3 in the city view agenda. Address 3101 Southwest 27th Avenue, Unit 204. Case number CE 2021-012427. Address 3101 Southwest 27th Avenue, Unit 204. Page 3, city view agenda. Okay, no one's, okay. They signed in, I don't know what happened. Calling page 4.
Dina? Anybody here for Dina Ray Holdings 1?
Okay, so page 3 is complied. 3101 Southwest 27th Avenue.
Okay.
Okay, page 4 also complied?
No.
Okay, calling page 4, city view agenda. The address is 3265 Hibiscus Street. 3265, okay. He's here. Case number is CE 2021-012638. Address.
Give him a microphone. I think he should have a microphone and he doesn't need to get up.
Melanie, I need
Sir,
you to.
you can have a seat. They'll
Me-
bring a microphone.
All right,
to you.
hold on. I need you to table this because Inspector Troutman just stepped out. She stepped out. So I'm not going to say anything else other than that. She'll be back shortly. So let's hear another case.
Okay, so then we'll go to page.
The inspector's not here, sir. Have a seat. When she comes back, we'll call you.
Yep.
Thank
Calling
you.
page 72. This is a to be heard in the code check agenda. Address 717 Northeast 27th Street. Case number 000-63660. Address 717 Northeast 27th Street. Page 72. This is in the code check agenda.
Good evening. Please state your name and address.
Good evening, Devin Vickers with Greenberg Traurig. Office is located at 333 Southeast Second Avenue.
Guilty or not guilty?
Guilty at the time the violation was issued.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Inspector, state your name and official position.
Marcelo Lazarique, Central Office.
Okay, could you provide a brief synopsis as they pled guilty?
Yes, so this property was initially cited because they had windows being stored inside of their lot for a very, very long time from some sort of construction that went on years ago. They finalized their permit and they just left them there. The property was in poor condition, especially the lot. They had just the containers there, the overgrowth. As of today, they have removed all the windows, but now they have an issue where there's some sort of leak coming from inside of the property and it's leaking out some water with some green substance and it's staining the sidewalk, so they had to clean that up. And they have some debris at the back right of the lot. But the main concern, which was the windows, those have been removed.
And what is your recommendation in terms of time?
My recommendation would be 15 days so they can clear up the two little things that they have left over.
Okay, so guilty 30 days, $500 a day thereafter.
Yeah, that's fine.
When we do these, okay.
Are you good with 15 days?
Yes, the 30 days would be great because this was the first time we're hearing about the second part with the leak.
Okay.
So that would be.
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
For 30 days?
30.
Your motion?
30.
All in favor?
Aye.
30 days, $500 per day.
Thank you so
And
much.
tell Brian that we're replacing him with you, okay?
Thank you. Have a
Thank
good
you.
evening.
You too.
Okay, is Inspector Troutman back?
She is
Yes.
back.
Okay, so recalling case, page 4 in the City View agenda, address 3265 Hibiscus Street, case number CE 2021-012638, page 4. Again, in the City View agenda, address 3265 Hibiscus Street.
Good evening. Please state your name and address.
Miles Jennings Jr. The address is 3471 Oak Avenue.
Guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty.
Thank you. We'll let the city present its case.
Excuse me.
Sure.
Guilty.
Okay.
Okay, guilty.
That sounds better.
We're ready.
Inspector, state your name and official position and provide a brief synopsis and your recommendation on time.
Inspector Troutman, Central Office. I was working with Mr. Davis. We went out to the property. We walked the property and we determined what he needed to do. He needs to put a driveway and also legalize the fence that he installed to conceal the boat. So at this point, he's been going to the building department. He spoke to the zoning department and he's trying to verify whether gravel is allowed in the city of Miami. And that has to be, so he's pulling permits to get that final approval. So that's where he is right now. I would recommend 120 days because he's still in the process of getting all those permits finalized.
Great. Is this his residence? No, right? This is not his primary residence?
No.
No.
Can I help you?
Okay, thank you. It's a rental property. Thanks.
So we're recommending guilty 120 days and $250 a day thereafter. And we're happy to work with the property owner to help him get extensions, but he needs to start now.
Mr. Davis, are you okay with 120 days?
Jennings, the last name is Jennings. And yes, I'm
Thank you.
happy with the 120 days. But if I may, we're waiting on a determination from building and zoning. The boat enclosure has already been constructed, but it was a non-structural application. So we're trying to determine whether or not it actually needs a permit. If it doesn't need a permit, we're not out of compliance. And so that's one of the determinations that we're
Understood. Thank you. Do I have a motion for 120 days, 250?
Motion as stated.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Mr. Davis.
I'm
Jennings.
sorry,
Good luck.
that
Thank
was
you.
120 days and 250 per diem?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Okay, we're calling page 114. This is the to be heard in the code check agenda. Address 145 Southwest 30th Court, Unit B as in boy 201, case number 000-70359, page 114. Address 145 Southwest 30th Court, Unit B 201.
Good evening. Please state your name and address.
Alina Sharri, 145 Southwest 30 Court, Miami, Florida, 33135.
Are you the property owner?
Board member.
I couldn't hear you, I'm sorry.
He is another board member.
Oh, you're both board members.
Yes,
Do they have standing?
I was told I have Echeverria Alvarez.
Yes, that's her.
Okay, she's listed here.
Thank you. Guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
Okay, I need him to state his name and address.
Yes, guilty.
Oh, me.
No,
Oh,
you said yours.
Vincent
Now he needs
Bogan.
to say it.
Vincent Bogan. And my address is 160 Southwest 30th Avenue.
Thank you.
Apartment 8 Goals.
Thank you. So we said guilty, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. We'll let the city present its case.
Okay, Inspector, please provide your name and position and provide a brief synopsis for the board.
Inspector Torres, co-compliance inspector with the after hour when I opened the case. So there was a proactive inspection. I was driving by and I saw these were performed on the parking lot and we're doing the approach also. So I did a little research on the property and there was no permit for the entire work that they were doing, that they were doing at the parking lot at that time.
Okay, and what is your recommendation on time?
I was told by the president of the association that they were having another issue with the 4050 before, so they haven't been able to get the permit yet on file, and they're kind of requesting the assistance of an architect or an engineer just to do the permits. So I'm recommending 120 days so they can finalize the permit,
So
if
Inspector,
possible.
if I'm not mistaken, they have not had approval for the 40-year?
I was told today that they finalized that. So right now they're able to go ahead and do the permit for the parking lot.
So we're asking for guilty 120 days, $500 a day thereafter until compliance is achieved.
Are you okay with 120 days? Do I have a motion?
Motion as
Second.
stated.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
You have
Okay.
120 days.
Ma'am, and speak with your inspector so that he can explain the extension of time process. Christian, if you could take them outside.
Calling next case, this is page 30, to be heard in the code check agenda. The address is 91 Southeast 2nd Street, case number 000-67070. Page 30, address 91 Southeast 2nd Street, page 30, to be heard in the code check agenda.
Good afternoon. Please state your name and address.
Daniel Stone, 1200 Brickell Avenue, Suite 1470.
Mr. Stone, guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
Thank you.
Inspector, state your name and official position and provide a brief synopsis.
Marcelo Lazarique, Central Office. I visited this location during a dry operation where we went with police, fire, and building. At the time, the certificate of use of the business was revoked. It appeared to be for some sort of unsafe structures violation on the whole building itself. That has since been resolved, but they haven't renewed the certificate of use, so it's still in the revoked status. I've spoken with the property owner, and they're working on getting the tenant out because they have other plans for the property. So I would recommend 30 days so they have time to finish that out.
Well,
They should be done. They should be out by the end of the week. It's the only issue is just to
have
not
you
have them come
already
back.
done the eviction process?
Yes, we have, and they're scheduled to close and be out May 18th.
Okay.
Okay.
30
I
days?
was just recommending just to have, not have them come back.
Okay,
Agreed.
and that's, no, that's fine. I just wanted to be sure it was enough. So we're recommending guilty, 30 days, $500 a day thereafter until compliance is achieved.
Motion as stated.
Mr. Stone, are you okay with that?
Yes,
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
You have 30 days.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving to the extension of times, I do have 8 absentia cases that are to be heard. Issues are power of attorney issues. I'll go ahead and call the extension of time. Page 150, this is an extension of time in the to be heard agenda. The address is 1936 Northwest 30th Street, case number 000-40666. Address 1936 Northwest 30th Street, page 150. This is extension of time in the code check agenda. Can I have the family of Louis Washington or the power of attorney for Louise?
Okay. So,
Good evening, name and address, please.
My name is Luis Baquerano. My aya es. Mi
okay,
nombre es Luis Baquerano. Mi dirección es 1934 Northwest 30th Street, Miami, Florida 33142 el zip code.
so we met with the couple and with the director, and we've agreed to recommend 90 days on an extension of time.
Are they okay with 90 days then? Thank you. Do I have a motion?
Motion as stated.
Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
They have 90 days. Thank you.
Thank you.
De nada.
To be heard, I'm sorry, next extension of time, I apologize. Wait, I mixed it up. Just a moment. 1 second, I'm sorry, guys. Okay, the extension of time, this one is page 143. The address is 1881 Northwest 49th Street, case number 000-38663. Address 1881 Northwest 49th Street, page 143, extension of time.
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Please state your name and address.
Jose Quesada, 1881 Northwest 49th Street.
Mr. Casala, how much time do you need?
So I will say that 120 days. I know I've been here before, but there was an issue with the unsafe building office. So it took like more than a month for me to get a visit from them. I think it was because of the holidays and all of that. So they visited me on January. So then I find out that when I buy the house, everything that was done inside was they did it without a permit.
Okay.
So now I'm trying to, start from the beginning and include all the violations and the plans, so that way I don't have to go back and forth. So it's basically I'm starting again and including everything that was found inside my property.
Perfect. 120 days. This is your homestead. You live there, right?
Yes, I live there.
Perfect. Do I have a motion for 120 days?
Motion.
Do I have
Second.
a second? All in favor?
Aye.
You have 120 days.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Calling next case. This is page 133, address 1296 Northwest 39th Street, case number 000-44518, page 133, extension of time in the code check agenda, address 1296 Northwest 39th Street.
Good evening. Please state your name and address.
Linda Washington, 1296 Northwest 39th Street, Miami, Florida, 33142.
How much time do you need, Ms. Washington?
160, 180.
No, how much time? How much time do you need?
How much time do you need?
Oh, 180 days?
We would recommend 120.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. You have 120 days. Thank you.
Thank
Have a
you.
good night.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Calling page 133, no, I'm sorry, I've already called
I
it.
just heard that.
Calling page 136, address 3174 Southwest 25th Street, case number 000-33130, address 3174 Southwest 25th Street, page 136, extension of time.
Hi. Please
Hello.
state your name and address.
Edmi Hernandez with ASAP Permit Solutions, representing Regla Rodriguez, the owner, for 3174 Southwest 25th Street.
Perfect. How much time do you need?
I would say 3 months.
90 days?
Huh?
90 days?
120?
No,
We've had to submit revisions requested by the inspector. So we're, in the middle of that. Sometimes the reviews take a little bit more than you anticipate, and
But we're not really sure what your experience, just that you were like 90 days, 120, please.
Yeah,
And I need to know what you've done. You didn't come up when we were asking people to come up, so why are you asking and what is it for? What have you done to come into
Well,
compliance?
we already have a permit. We've already done inspections. And we've had some of the inspectors request revisions to the plans. And that's where we're at.
Mr. Director?
Apologies, I'm trying to assist someone who,
Yeah.
all right, go ahead.
Okay, addition and remodel.
I was,
Mr. Cornell, go ahead.
sorry.
No, it's okay.
I just wanted to see what activity had been
We're
done
looking
recently.
at it now.
And that's a valid
Sorry, you
question.
wanna
That'll,
call
that'll show me for multitasking.
So, so you were, your client was cited with work performed without a permit, illegal units, and removal of required landscaping and failure to maintain required landscaping.
Not applicable.
What, if
So they have
anything,
one.
has been done to come into compliance?
Yeah. Bueno, but this is-
Pardon me, can you repeat that again?
Are they,
So
there's revisions?
It's on the screen.
Okay, items are, okay, active, ready for inspections. Yeah, 120 days is a lot for you. You're
Yeah.
ready for inspections.
Right, so
So,
I would humbly.
I'll move for 90 days.
Yes.
do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. You have 90 days.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Calling next case. This is page 140. The address is 3630 Southwest 11th Street.
Down here.
Case number 000-57491, page 140, address 3630 Southwest 11th Street, extension of time, code check.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Page 140.
Please state your name and address.
My name is Arturo Puerto. The address is 3630 Southwest 11th Street.
How much time do you need?
90 days.
90 days? What have you done so far?
We submitted the plans. They sent it back to us for revision. We're in the process of updating what they asked for.
Okay.
Robert, can somebody pull up this?
Are you okay with 90 days? The city?
36, I don't know, because this property went November 8th, 2023, and they were given significant amount of time, 120 days. Since then, because we didn't have quorums, it wasn't reset, so they've had quite a number of months, and I'm trying to figure out what they've done to come into compliance.
The problem being is that I have problems with the architects that were doing the stuff, and I had to get rid of them and start all over again, and that's been the delay.
Okay. Can we see what they have in the system already as entered?
Robert, they're asking.
Sorry.
Finishing with the
I'm
gentleman.
sorry, yeah.
So, okay.
We're trying to find out what this gentleman has already in the system as far as how
Understood.
far he is into the plans.
3630 Southwest 11th.
Come up to the inspector. This was, and they needed to get an after-the-fact permit for a new driveway and approach that they had done on the property.
So according to iBuild, they do have an active permit, but they need their corrections pending from the applicant.
So the applicant owes correction.
Correct. I mean, it's in-depth, decks, slabs, waterproofing,
It's a
lightweight
lot.
concrete, patch, stucco, pool deck. But right now, it reflects that they're corrections that you need to do. They're on you.
So we're recommending 60 days.
Okay.
Do I have a motion for 60 days?
Motion for 60 days.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
You have
Okay.
60 days.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate it.
You're
Have a good
welcome.
day.
Bye-bye.
Calling next case, extension of time. This is page 153, address 2742 Southwest 8th Street, case number 000-54264, address 2742 Southwest 8th Street, page 153, extension of time.
Good evening.
Good afternoon,
Please state your
Madam
name and
Chair,
address.
members of the board. Ben Fernandez, 200 South Biscayne Boulevard, here on behalf of Shopping Center Plaza Corporation. And we would respectfully ask for 180 days on this. We recently went to the Unsafe Structures Board in March and obtained time to address a violation on the property, which was really just a result of roof improvements, not even roof improvements. It's a decorative issue, but it is an issue that takes time to address. And the board recognized that, gave us time. In the interim, we cannot address the signage permits. Those are on hold until we can resolve the unsafe structures case. And so that's why we're asking for additional time. Some of the signage has already been brought into compliance, and I think
Where,
that staff
where are
is-
you in the unsafe structures case?
We went to the board in March, and they provided a 30, 60, 90. That's it, but that's really a decorative facade issue, not a real structural issue.
And how much time are you requesting?
For the signage, 180 days, because first we need to bring in we need to get the unsafe structures. issue
Okay, the
resolved.
director has indicated that they'll support 120, but 180 is a lot for signage.
Mr. Fernandez,
I understand.
120, and then we'll take it from there.
Fair enough, I understand.
I'll move for 120. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very
120.
much.
You're welcome. Have a good night.
Okay, going to the mitigations. This is a mitigation in City View. The page number is page 9, City View, mitigation. The address is 601 Northwest 31st Avenue. Case number CE 2021-007-245. Address 601 Northwest 31st Avenue. Page 9, mitigation in the City View agenda. It is 675 days old.
675.
675 days.
Hamilton Alvarado.
Because this is Homestead.
Name and address, please.
601 Northwest, 31 Avenida.
I'm sorry, we can't hear. He has. to-
Hamilton Alvarado. Mi dirección es 601 Northwest, 31 Avenida, Miami, Florida. 331-125.
Ask him if he lives at that property. If he lives at that property.
Sí.
Yes.
So this is a homestead.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so who lives at this house?
He does. He lives there.
He lives there.
He just said that. I just
He
asked
lives
him.
there.
What is the city recommending?
It's homesteaded. So,
It's homesteaded.
so let's talk about mitigations. Tomorrow, there's going to be 8 cases that I'll be presenting before the full board, right? So for your consideration, you must assess, the statutes reflect that you don't have to mitigate, okay? But you take into consideration the type of violation, the egregiousness, right? The gravity of the violation. That's what the code reflects. So on a case by case, on homesteaded properties, there is a movement to zero out, and that's up to you. But there are expenditures that are incurred by the city, by code here. You know, you guys are volunteer, but all the support.
Well, he complied in 21, some and in 23. So, you know, he complied with a few.
So there's
few
different layers that I want to put the whole perspective. So on homesteaded, I know your position has been at 0. I would humbly ask for something. In this case, I'm going to ask for 1,000. If you want to go lower, that's up to you. If you want to zero it out, it's up to you. On properties that are non-homesteaded, I'm going to ask for at least 5,000. And then we go into different layers.
Ask him.
At this point, the property is homesteaded. He's done a good job. He's complied. I'm going to request that 1,000.
Just because you want to mitigate costs, or because you want to
Because-
set an example, or what's the rationale?
So across the board, right? From the beginning, building this case has had multiple extensions of time. And so through that's our position. And that'll be my position. And I could tell you, let's do 500, but I know how the board, I see how it gravitates. And I believe that you're going to do what's right for the homestead owner, which is 0. So
Let's see. How much can he afford?
Are we on page 9?
Page
Because-
9.
We're on page 9, but this is.
Because I'm seeing
a
no
property
homestead
owner-
on page
Right,
9.
this property
The
owner.
city's recommending $1,000. We're asking him if he was able to pay, how much would he be able to pay?
500.
500. Okay. Do I have?
I'll move for 500.
If you
Second.
look at the property appraisal.
Hold on a second. The
Yeah.
board attorney has a comment.
I want to jump on what the director said. The respondent, the violator, has the burden to prove that he's entitled to a mitigation and put forth why he needs a mitigation.
Because it's her friend.
So the city made a recommendation.
I moved for 500. It was second.
You moved, there wasn't a second.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, he did.
I seconded it.
He seconded.
Just so you know.
That's fine, and I appreciate that, but I'm putting this on the record. He has to carry his burden for you to mitigate, and I'm talking as a broader stroke, so. You guys can-
Understood. I have a first, I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
No.
No. And I'm saying no. I'm going to go on the record and say no because I see that it's not homesteaded on
It
page
is, it's the
9.
same address. It's homesteaded.
Well, I'm just
Sometimes
telling you
you'll-
on page 9, I'm
That
showing
happens all the
0
time.
homestead.
Just do a roll call vote.
If you look
Do
at
a
how
roll
the
call
same
vote.
address.
Roll call.
Roll call, calling member Martin Silver.
Yes.
Thank you. Calling member Keon Williams.
Yes.
Thank you. Calling member John Q. Neal,
Think
Vice
yes.
Chair.
Think yes.
Thank you. Calling Chair Yvonne Bayona.
No.
Calling member Rick Madan.
Yes.
Thank you. Calling member Christy Tasker.
No.
Okay, it passes by a vote of 4-2.
Tell him that it passed. It's $500 his fee to please wait over here to get an order.
And he has to pay it within
Thank
like
you.
21 days or whatever that.
Yeah, let him know that he has to pay that fee within 21 days. If not, it'll revert back to the original amount. Thank you.
Madam Chairwoman, it's 20.
20.
20 days.
20 days.
My apologies, board. There is an
20 days.
extension of time.
20 days.
I'm gonna take us back to an extension of time.
Okay.
This is in the city view agenda. The page number is 16. The address is 2500 Northwest 10th Avenue. The case number is CE 2021-015-775.
Thank you. Yes, we met with the property owner and he has requested 90 days, which we're fine with. Sir?
What page are we in?
Melanie just went through.
I'm sorry. Just a moment. Announcing the arrival of member Brenda Bettencourt.
Thank you.
16, thank you.
All right, there we go. You may go, sir.
Good evening. Please state your name and address.
Jamal Kayed, address 2500 Northwest 10th Avenue, Miami, Florida 33127.
This is for an extension of time, correct?
That's extension of time, city
Thank you.
view,
How much
page
time do you
16.
need? Got it.
Well, they told me will take 6 months for the waiver,
You requested a waiver?
180 days.
Well, we met with him and at the time he was saying he needed 90 days, so. 90.
We can always come back. I'll move for 90 days.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
You have 90 days.
Come back if you need more time.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
Have a
you.
good night.
Good night. Next case.
Okay, we are still back to the city view agenda. Still, now we're back in the mitigations. This one is page 12. The address is 1079 Northwest 61st Street. They are also here for page 14. Address also 1079 Northwest 61st Street. Case number for page 12 is CE 2015-005-348. Also page 14, the case number is CE 2017-019-073.
How many days?
The days for page 12 is 1,442 days. The days for page 14 is 553 days.
553?
553.
Thank you.
So can we put
Good
on the
evening.
screen?
Please state your name and address.
Good afternoon. Michael Marino, for the owner, 6741 Orange Drive, Davie, 33314.
Thank you. This is one of the properties that is homesteaded. No, it's
It is not.
Yeah, this is,
No,
it's
no.
not homestead.
It's a
But-
T3, but it's a single family
And it's owned by an LLC.
and it's owned by an LLC.
So it's an exception or it's not an exception?
So it is.
It
You
is,
can
right?
hear it.
Yeah.
It is within your purview, it's a single family, even though it's owned by LLC. There's 2 violations at this property. Case number CE 2017-019-073 is accrued $138,250. And then you have the second one that is right before you. And I'd like to know what those violations are specifically for, but that has accrued 360. Don't move it. Don't move it.
Were these inherited or were they done while they owned the property?
They were bought after, and they're an investment company.
They were already existing.
That's what I was asked. They were inherited.
Yeah.
They already
Inherited.
existed. Yeah, I guess.
Caveat
whatever word you
emptor.
like to use.
They were
Yeah.
cited for failure to register a vacant structure.
So I spoke with counsel. Tomorrow I'll be here before the full commission, and the majority of the cases that'll be presented, the rule of thumb process is approximately 15%. I have discussed with counsel here on the side, along with our attorney, the collective amount here, collectively for the 2 is 498. code is making because it's a lower tier, it's not full commercial, but I am making a recommendation to reduce from 498,750, a 90% reduction. That leaves it at $49,875.
Are you talking about both properties?
I'm talking about one property, 2 violations.
Okay, this is
But
the
you're talking about both
But that's a
violations.
total. That's a total fine, right?
Yes. And that's,
49,800.
that's code's recommendation. Yes.
Yeah, and I just wanted to, and I appreciate that, but just wanted to explain one of the reasons why this got so high, and a lot of it has to do with the Unsafe Structures Board. The property was bought in 2018, and my client unfortunately inherited these violations and liens. There's a whole backstory of why it was bought that way, which we're dealing with, but the owner cured all the violations, did a complete remodel of the home pursuant to all city codes. And what happened is that in December of 2018, he got a notice of hearing for unsafe structure. The notice didn't indicate what was unsafe. He went numerous times to talk to Mr. Rene Diaz in Unsafe Structures, and he was never able to speak to him. So he hired an engineer who issued a report that said that the property really was not unsafe, it just needed some repairs. So then they went to the hearing, and Mr. Diaz claimed he'd never seen my client. After the hearing, Mr. Diaz advised that what needed to be done to bring it into compliance, and therefore took it out of the unsafe structures or I guess the demolition order. The owner then began the permit process, but then COVID happened and everything got delayed. So the main point I wanted to make is my client acted in good faith. He acted diligently to get all this stuff done, but there was a lot of confusion.
And I think you deserve more than a 90% reduction? Is that where you're going?
I think it should be taken into consideration. That's all. And so in August of 2021, pretty much all the permits had been approved, and Mr. Officer Carlos Campana wrote on his lien document mitigated, but he had to go back and see Mr. Diaz. At this point, the Unsafe Structures was required to close out its violation, but they refused to sign the final inspection without providing any basis for doing so. In December, when they had they had another hearing, and at the hearing for the first time, Mr. Diaz acknowledged that there was an additional lien that had fines that had to be taken care of before he could do anything. In other words, before he can go through the process of getting his final permits and getting everything finalized, they said he had to pay this additional lien. They said he could not close the case and the demolition order would remain and the fines would continue. When he found out, he requested that they provide him with the lien payoff. He sent numerous emails so he could pay it. They never replied to any of his emails. And the refusal or I don't know if it was a refusal or they just didn't see it, but it prevented my client from being able to comply with the lien payoff. They were required to provide it, didn't provide it. So basically, by this time, the liens, continued and the fines continued to accrue. Then on March 29th, when we finally got involved, and we sent an email as well to the city to ask them for a payoff, nothing. Then a month later, I sent another email, but this time I copied the city attorney's office. Then again, they
did not copy me.
Okay,
I'm the prosecutor, excuse me. You pointed at me and you said I copied the city attorney's office. So in my defense, as I've been the prosecutor for years now, and nobody reached out to me, so.
Well, they did reply. So the reason why we finally got a reply, the assistant city attorney followed up with me and she said, "Don't worry, I'll get you the payoff." Okay, and mind you, this is a couple years. So the payoff was $1,700. So had we been able to had they given him the payoff from the beginning, these fines would not have accrued to where they are. I mean,
That's not the way it works.
It doesn't work that way.
This is what they told us.
No, that's not the way it works.
Okay.
How it works is it's a daily fine until you get an affidavit of compliance.
Right.
So even,
Hold on. I think, council, you're commingling processes, the Unsafe Structure Board, that's a separate process altogether. These fines have been accruing, and
Right,
I'm
but
going
we
to
were
give you the
told-
dates.
We were told that a condition of getting this resolved was the payment of that fine and the resolution with the Unsafe Structures Board.
Right, that's a different board. This is Code Enforcement Board,
Right.
code compliance violations.
Just trying to give you the story as to how we got here. And again, my client, he did everything he was asked to do, and he did it in a diligent manner, did it in good faith. And, that's all. I just wanted to point that out. That's
The
it.
city has
And-
recommended $49,875. Do I have a motion?
Through the chair, just a question to the director.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm confused. He said he's have a lot of issues with the house, but if he renovate the house without a permit, nobody would tell him that he have a lien. So I guess he renovate the house without it, and then he did that.
No.
In fact.
That's not correct. We didn't do anything without a permit. We did everything with permits.
It has nothing
The
to do
people-
renovate the
the-
house. It's failure to register
No, thank
a
you.
vacant structure. This has nothing to do
And
with.
there's a previous violations for failure to maintain exterior.
But we don't have that
Rather
here.
unsightly. No, it's before you. It's one of the cases.
Both,
Not-
both.
Not here.
It's,
It's
both
not in our
cases.
Do you
booklet.
have the
We-
letter that you
Our
sent to the
booklet
city
only has
attorney
one
showing the
violation.
$1,700? Do you have the letter that you sent to the city attorney showing that where somebody told you that the fines were $1,700 at that point?
The email?
Yeah, the email.
Probably, yes. I have to look.
He was exchanging emails with the attorney for the Unsafe Structures Board, Ms. Rachel Dooley.
Okay.
Those fines
But
are
he just-
completely different.
Considering he mentioned you, I just wanted to know if he
Right.
had.
I'm sorry if I got the two of you confused.
so members of the board, you have two open cases.
Everybody
that he's
confused.
mitigating.
Don't worry about it.
But how can we rule on two open cases when we only have one in our booklet?
No.
They're
Robert
both
is,
here. They're both in front of us.
We're on one case. We'll call the other one next.
I'm on page 12.
No, but you put them both together. The director put them both
Oh,
together.
because he put 14, page 14 as well. Okay,
Yeah,
I
you put them
understand.
both together.
So
Okay, got
CE
it.
2017-019-073 is failure to maintain exterior of the property.
I got
For the
it.
record, it's not council. Council is representing the owners that were cited prior to this. So they bought full knowledge, right? It's an LLC, and they bought Caveat Emptor. They bought it like that as an investment property.
Wait, he represent the previous owners or the
No,
current?
he represents the current owners.
That's what I thought. Okay, I thought you.
Okay,
But can I make one quick one? The other
Sure.
issue was that,
and just real quickly, and I apologize, under chapter 162, Judge Zilber, if the property owner who sold to them did not tell them
Yeah, they can go
what
against
they-
them.
They can get treble damages from Miss Milagros, who
Yep.
I'm sure never assumed that it was going to be mitigated to zero because she had been here before. So, you know.
we're explaining, but one of the problems that we had is they told us, Diaz told us, Campana told that this couldn't be mitigated, that this was not eligible for mitigation. And what we were told is they said, you know what, just hold on to the property, rent it in 10 years or whatever the number was.
20
and
years.
It'll 20 years.
20.
Hold it for 20 years and you'll be able to do something with it in 20 years.
No, the lien expires.
Okay, but we were told that we couldn't mitigate these fines at
Unsafe,
all.
unsafe, you cannot. Co-enforcement, you can. That's why you're still mixing the both
Right,
boards.
but
Right, you're talking to the people. Mr. Diaz does not speak for code enforcement. He speaks for unsafe structures, which
Yeah.
cannot be mitigated.
Is Carlos Campana part of the
no.
unsafe structure?
Excuse me, I think we've heard enough
Yeah.
of the testimony, and I think we're ready to rule. So I think we need to move forward. We understand, council, we've heard your side of the story. The recommendation of the city is for $49,875. Do I have a motion for both properties? This
Is
is
it for
page,
both?
page 12 and page 14.
How do we break it up?
So
Whatever. Let's figure out what we're doing first, then you'll figure out how to break it up.
I'll make a motion for 40,000.
Do I have a
I'll
second?
second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It's for both
Roll
properties?
call.
no.
Yes.
That's why you have to kind of know.
Just
The amount.
proportionate.
We can't do this. He's gonna,
30 and 10.
so 30,000 on number 12, on page 12, Melanie,
Bigger.
and 10,000 on page 14.
Okay.
Okay. So, roll call.
Can I, I don't know, I'm not.
We
privy to the
voted.
number
We
12.
have to
Wait a
wait.
minute. You need to wait a minute.
We need to wait.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We just voted.
Calling Chair Yvonne Bayona?
Yes.
Thank you. Calling Vice Chair John Kuhnell.
Yes.
Thank you. Calling Member Rick Madan.
Yes.
Thank you. Calling Member Brenda Bettencourt.
Yes.
Calling Member Christy Tasker.
Yes.
Calling Member Keon Williams.
Yes.
Calling Member Martin Zilber.
Yes.
Okay, it passes.
Thank you. Just
Unanimous
one question.
decision.
Which one is which? The 30,000 and number 12?
She can tell you 10. It's 3010. 30 page 12, which is a 1079 Northwest 61st Street, and 10,000, it's the other, the failure to maintain
The
the
case
exterior.
numbers, one's 2015, 2017. Okay, perfect, thank you.
Council, and there's 20-day clause, a reverter clause. So if it doesn't get paid within 20 days, it reverts the full amount.
Okay, calling page, this is an add-on, it's an additional add-on case in the mitigation. The address is 1841 Southwest 13th Avenue, case number CE 2020-021216, address 1841 Southwest 13th Avenue, add-on 1. This is page add-on 1, address 1841 Southwest 13th Avenue. This is a mitigation at 987 days.
987?
987 days.
Page 1?
Yes, it's an add-on.
It's in the back?
It's behind your,
It's
After the blue.
Okay, got it. Good evening.
it's
Please
separated there.
state your name and address.
My name is Jose Jesus Sanchez. The address is 1841 Southwest 13th Avenue.
Okay, and you're here to mitigate today.
This is Homestead?
Do you live in that property?
Yes, it's
Okay,
my
it is his
homestead.
homestead. This is a single-family home, T3, so he
Yes.
qualifies for a reduction.
Brenda.
So from 148, how many days you said it was?
You ready?
Yeah, we
I'm
ready.
sorry?
987 days.
987 days, yeah, he's passed.
Are we ready?
We're ready.
I think you guys are ready, and I'm gonna go on the record. Code recommends a fine of $500.
Are you able to
Something.
pay $500?
I have something here to explain you. I wrote something to explain you.
He's
No.
prepared a presentation, and I think you should
Yeah,
receive.
no problem. Go ahead.
I'm here today to discuss my case that concerning the property I purchased, which represent not only a significant investment for my family and me, but also a commitment to the community I serve as a physician. For beginning, my wife and I fell in love with this house, which we saw as our dream home. However, we face significant challenges from the outset due to the persisting code violations, which were not addressed by the previous owners, and an elderly couple facing extraordinary difficulties, circumstances including severe illness and the passing of one of the spouse. Upon taking ownership of the property, my wife and I immediately invested all our available resources to correct this violation, working diligently to comply with all city regulations. This required considerable financial effort, leading us to seek financial support from families and friends to complete the necessary repairs. As a doctor dedicated to treat elderly patients in their homes, my medical practice heavily depends on the fluidity of my finances, which has been severely compromised by this situation. My ability to continue providing essential care is at risk, as the funds I would normally use to sustain my practice are depleted. The affidavit of compliance I present today confirm that I have met all the requirements standard for code correction. Given this compliance and the significant effort and investment we have made to restore the property, I respectfully request that the financial penalties imposed due to the circumstances beyond our control and inherited from the previous owners be considered for removal. I understand and I respect the city's procedures and policies, but I also ask you to consider my unique situation and the consequence I will face if these penalties are upheld. I'm willing to provide any additional documentation or detail necessary to facilitate this request. I deeply appreciate your time and consideration, and I hope that you can assist me in resolving this situation so that I can continue serving my community without the threat of further financial hardship. Thank you for your attention and for your consideration.
$500. That's a significant reduction from 148,000. So we
That-
believe that that is fair and appropriate.
Yeah,
And we'll cover the cost.
For everyone's, well, it won't cover the cost, but it's 99.7% reduction.
This house has been completely remodeled
Right,
since these pictures.
right.
So what are you recommending? What's the number?
$500.
I'm going to make a motion for 0.
I'll second the 0.
Second.
No, I will not vote for that
roll
because we just,
call.
there's
We have to
somebody
have
here in front of us for $500
But he
and,
didn't- he-
and it was his homestead and we
Then-
charged him
then-
$500.
But we had a motion and someone seconded,
I
so we got to
second.
discuss it or
Roll
vote it
call.
down.
Roll call.
How about we discuss it first? How about we discuss it
Okay.
before we
Let's
vote on it?
discuss it.
You want to discuss it?
Well, first of all, the other guy gave us no reason to not fine him, number one, which our board attorney actually brought to our attention that we didn't give him a chance to explain or ask for anything additional. So this gentleman has written a letter. He is a medical provider locally. I imagine this has caused him a lot of undue stress, especially when, he didn't know what he was taking on, which can happen to any of us.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Well, first of all, we need to finish the vote. There's a
Yes,
first
you had
and
a
a
first and you had
second.
a second.
Okay.
And I said
I'll
no.
second.
Did you ask for anybody else to vote?
Well, no,
I
if-
just said
if-
we had a first
If
and,
you have a no vote from anybody
I
who's
said no.
announcing it, you do roll call.
But there's
Right.
but she hasn't asked for.
Okay. Melanie, can you do roll
you
call?
guys already voted.
Okay, calling member Christy Tasker,
Yes.
calling member Brenda Bettencourt.
Yes.
Thank you. Calling Mr. Martin Zilber,
Yes.
calling Keon Williams,
Yes.
calling Chair Yvonne Bayona,
No.
calling Vice Chair John Kuhnel,
Yes.
calling member Rick Madan.
Yes.
Thank you. It passes by a vote of 5-1.
Okay.
That means
Thank
we
you.
missed- That means we missed somebody because there's 7 of us.
I'm sorry.
I think you
It
didn't ask
passes
Kian.
by, yeah, I called everybody. It passes by a vote of 6-1.
6-1. Okay.
Sorry.
Sir,
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
and thank you for your service.
Thank you for your
as a
service.
doctor.
Wait for the order.
Muchas gracias.
Okay, we finished the mitigations. We do have an extension of time. This one is in code check. This is page 146. The address is 3521 Southwest 16th Street, case number 000-13177. This is an extension of time, page 146 in code check.
Good afternoon. Please state your name and address.
Janusz Ivanowski, 3521 Southwest 16th Street.
Extension of time. How much time do you need?
120 days.
100 and what have you done so far?
I have closed, I have remodeled the back unit, everything as the city wanted. I was able to pass all the inspections except electrical. Now, electrical is telling me that I'm going to have to redo a lot of things because this is property from 1957, and there are a lot of things that are going to have to be done. Removing cables, all those things. So I hired an electrical engineer, and we're doing the plans to submit to the city.
Perfect.
I don't know what's been done. All I know is that they were cited initially for illegal units, illegal short-term rental, use not allowed in the zoning district, and work performed without a permit. 120 is a lot of time, and this is an old case.
And according to iBuild,
He is in the.
you still have corrections required. It's still in revision.
Yeah, but you see what he says, pre-screen corrections,
Yes.
and that's mean he still have something to fix. That's exactly what he says. They're working on the plans.
Well, I
You
was
want to do
able-
less days instead of being 120? You want to do what, 90, 60? What do you want?
90.
I
90?
was able to close all of the
They're still open.
there are open permits.
So the
with this elec-
recommendation is 90 days?
I'll move for 90 days.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. You have 90 days, sir. Try to.
Thank you.
que ellos tengan.
Going to the to be heards, this one is an absentia. The case number, the page number is page 103. The address is 511 Northeast 27th Street. Case number 000-74815. Address 511 Northeast 27th Street, page 103.
That case has been voided and will be reopened.
Okay, thank you. Going to the next absentia case. This one is page 117. Address is 2899 Northwest 7th Avenue. The case number is 000-78017, page 117. Address 2899 Northwest 7th Avenue.
To be heard, correct?
This is a to be heard in absentia.
Hi. Please state your name and address.
My name is Jesus Chique, 31078 Street, Miami Beach, 33141.
And has the board attorney already advised you that you don't have standing to
speak,
testify?
He has no power of attorney that's valid.
Pardon?
He has no valid power of attorney.
In order for you to come and speak before the board, you have to have proper documentation, which is
Okay,
called
yes.
a power of
I
attorney.
provided already.
He says he doesn't have it.
It's not valid. It's not valid. It's not a power of
Just explain to him we're going to let you speak, but you're not officially here. Do you understand? But
Yeah, because the owner just sent me that document, so I thought that was valid.
Not a
So-
problem. I just wanted to explain to you how this functions.
Okay,
let
Inspector,
the city
state your
present its
name and
case.
official position.
Inspector Tyler, after hours.
Did you issue a citation to the property at 2899 Northwest 7th Avenue?
I did.
And did you provide me with your file in this case?
I did.
And what we've marked as Exhibit A is your research on the city's iBuild computer system, as well as the photographs that you obtained of the violations, correct?
Correct.
And Exhibit B are the records from the property appraiser, correct?
Correct.
And Exhibit C are the official notices and summonses required by Florida law.
Correct.
Okay, we'd like to introduce A, B, and C into the record.
Submitted.
Okay, and Inspector, this individual, property owner did not have a CU for the type of business conducted, work performed without a permit, failure to have a business tax receipt, failure to display address, and illegal units, correct?
Correct.
Okay, have they complied any of those?
Okay.
Explain what that is.
Okay, so that's the other picture.
Food trucks.
Okay, so here we go. On January 31st, we visited the property. That's where all those 6 violations was done, right? One of the violations that was given to them was failure to have a CUBTR for the type of operation that was being conducted. Now, to date, they have addressed all of those violations. The reason they're here for adjudication is because on March the 8th and April 12th, 2 additional inspectors went by the property and also cited them for operating without a valid CUBTR. So as of right now, looks like they're closed and everything is good, and they have addressed everything, but they're here for adjudication because of those subsequent inspectors that came by to cite them for the same thing I cited them for on January 31st.
So basically, they called you to comply it, and then they turned around and started doing the same thing all over again?
Okay,
They didn't even call you.
answer in there so we can record it.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
So they closed and then they
All
opened again.
indications as of right now, they're closed.
Right, but when you went there before, the day you gave them the citation on February 1st, they were open. Did they close after that? Before?
Okay, as of the February 1st, they did look to be closed, but I'm saying subsequent to that, including during dry hours, they were open.
Right. Okay, great.
So at this point in time, let me put this onto the record because it's important. There's 6 violations and they will comply with the graffiti and the placement of signs in the street. Those 2 are complied, but you have failure to obtain a valid CU, work performed without permits, failure to display address, and their illegal units. Tell me about the illegal units.
They had some type of storage shelter little area in the back. They have since removed that though.
Okay. So since then they have, but we're seeking to adjudicate, and compliance, we probably recommend 15 days.
All all indications is that they have complied with everything. Again, the adjudication is because it didn't close down on when they said it was.
We're asking for guilty, 5 days to come into compliance, $500 a day thereafter.
Sir, is there anything you'd like to say?
Yep. So could I explain the case
There,
a
no,
little bit? Thank you.
I'm gonna object. He's got very little to say.
Right.
Okay,
But he
so,
can-
No, that's it. Okay. When the inspector
Briefly.
came, he was
I'd
ready.
like to hear him speak. I'd like to hear what he has to
Briefly.
say.
Okay.
I
We
already
just-
said
Thank
that.
you.
We have a lot of.
Go ahead, sir. Stop, please. Let the gentleman speak. Can you
Thank you.
speak briefly?
So when he came, I didn't know what was happening because we hired someone last year to process all the documents because we didn't know what we were doing over there or how it was working with the city. We hired a expediter, I think you call it like that, on October last year. I explained to the gentleman, and actually we called this guy the first time he came because I was thinking that we were fine with everything on the city.
25.
So he started a CU process at the county and the Miami City. So I didn't know. He asked me for the BTR. I called this guy. I say, hey, we need the BTR because I didn't know. So the day after that, I went to the city and I get 6 BTR for the structures, mobile structures that I had on my place, on my property, because I'm renting over there. So I got the BTR. I asked them for the CU. I didn't know the process. So I went to the county and they say that they didn't know what was happening because the guy, his name is Oscar, he was supposed to open at the city of Miami. So I wasn't aware that I need to close at that moment right away. I was like, maybe it's open because, as you know, there are a lot of places with food trucks on Wynwood area, on Miami City. They are open. There are some friends of mine. And I was like, maybe this is normal because we have been working somewhere else, not on the city. So I didn't know we need to close at the moment.
You were told, okay, the property owner was advised. We're here now because the property owner did not show. The property owner received a notice of violation. The violation is existing. The board needs to just render a determination to repeat our
I just have one-
recommendation. Excuse me, sir.
Okay.
Guilty, 5 days, $500 a day thereafter.
Do I have a motion?
Okay, but yeah, I haven't.
I will second the motion. I just have a question.
There is one thing that I want to ask you. Is a lien on the property for $300,000 that the owner doesn't know at the moment when he rented to me, and I have been on the city last week.
Sir, you need to come and talk to the
Okay.
director, okay?
Okay,
The board is
we're
here
gonna
on a
rule.
different
Perfect.
case.
Okay, I have a first, I have a motion.
I'll
I have a
second.
second.
Yeah, I do have a question. Okay.
You're seconding it or not?
I'm
Okay.
seconding it. I just,
Second it, but
he's
she
already
wants to-
seconded.
Okay.
I just have a question for the director. If he
ahead.
has a CU, how he's gonna have a BTR? He doesn't have a CU.
Because with the
I'm
first-
asking you, sir. You are
Sir.
done in our case.
Yep, you're done talking. Sorry.
So according
Just-
to my
just a question.
notes and according from input from other inspectors that have come to this location, and they reopened, they're playing this game. As far as we're concerned, they're operating without a CU BTR. The reason they're compliant is because they're closed. And and they're playing games. So I'm saying concurring, 5 days, $500 for every day thereafter. And we are going to continue to monitor along with police.
Okay, so I have a motion, I have a first and a second. All in
Aye.
favor?
Aye.
You have 5 days.
Thank you.
Calling next case. This is
Is
page.
this a 5 days without extension of time, or he's gonna request extension of time? Because he's playing the game
city
before.
recommended 5 days, $500.
He can come back and we can deny.
Right.
Okay?
And it goes all the way back to the date of the original order.
Yes.
Next case.
Calling page 53. The address is 126 Southwest 8th Avenue, 000-64372, page 153, to be heard.
150.
153. I'm sorry, page 53, not 15.
God, going back and
53,
forth.
53, sorry.
Good evening, this is to be heard?
Yes, to be heard.
Thank you. Name and address, please.
Thomas Hires, 316 Southeast 22nd Avenue, Pompano Beach, Florida.
He doesn't have a power of attorney.
Okay. So it's an abstention.
Okay.
And this is page 53, sorry.
Inspector, state your name and official position.
Russell Hernandez with the Southwest office.
And did you issue a citation to the property at 126 Southwest 8th Avenue?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and did you provide me with your file in this case?
Correct. Yes.
And what we've marked as Exhibit A are the photographs of the violations as well as your research in the city systems, correct?
Correct.
Exhibit B are the records of the property appraiser, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And Exhibit C are the official notices and summonses required by Florida law.
Yes, ma'am.
We'd like to introduce A, B, and C into the record.
Submit it.
Okay, Inspector, you cited the property owner for failure to maintain the exterior and also failure to display any BTRs. Have you subsequently determined whether they have or have not a BTR?
They do have the certificate of use and business tax receipt. They just had the very old ones displayed in the
Okay.
lobby.
Okay, and then
Outdated.
also failure to maintain the exterior of,
Correct.
and that's a big building.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and Director, I'm gonna defer to you.
I think that's gonna take, let me see, are you have plans to, clean the property and the power wash? Is that in place?
Yes, sir.
Wait, what is your relationship to the property owner?
I'm representing Miami-Dade County Public Housing Community Development and Miami Beach CDC.
And you didn't bring the city attorney and Miami-Dade County
I've
did not
never-
did not give you a correct power of attorney?
Who do you work for?
Royal American Property Management. We manage all 29 properties for PHCD.
Thank you.
Okay, that's better. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna recommend that we provide 30 days. It is a large building. We're fined $500 per day thereafter.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
If I may speak,
Yes.
these properties came over from the Miami Beach CDC. Last year, in the summertime, all commissioners and the mayor signed a memorandum of understanding giving all power of financial, legal, and management to Miami-Dade County Public Housing Community Development. Since that time, they have funneled 1.6 million into the properties that have been taken away from the CDC. The county requires a very stringent procurement process for all public dollars being spent. This is my 9th project for the CDC, taking on all these properties in disrepair. 30 days is not
No,
enough
sir,
time.
we understand, but the property owner's not here. And therefore, it's as though you hadn't spoken. Okay, you can give some background, but you're lucky. We always ask for guilty 5 days.
Well,
So
you can
I
come-
would suggest you come back with the property owner or that they issue you the proper power of attorney.
Either that or you can still request additional time before the 30 days, when you come back. You can ask for additional time, but make sure you have the proper
Well, the property
documentation
owner
and
has to
power of
request,
attorney.
doesn't
It
the
just-
property owner has to request time? Like,
30 days to power wash a building?
Okay, so it's,
More than enough.
did the board vote or not?
No,
was a
we haven't.
motion.
The recommendation was 30 days, $500.
30 days, $500, I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second? All in
Second.
favor?
Aye.
No. For me.
Okay. Calling member Christy Tasker,
Yes.
calling member Keon Williams,
Yes.
calling member Martin Zilber,
Yes.
calling member Rick Madan,
Yes.
calling Chair Yvonne Bayona,
No.
calling Vice Chair John Kuhnel,
Yes.
calling member Brenda Bettencourt.
Yes.
Okay, it passes 6-1.
Okay. Please
You have
call the
30
next
days.
one. We
Thank you.
still
Thank
have
you.
25 cases to go.
Yes, we
so-
do.
How many?
So let's power through.
I have two
25.
more people here.
35 of what kind of cases?
Anybody that has not been
No.
heard?
Yes, I do.
Oh, an abstention.
Just a
I
moment.
mean,
I have
nobody
two.
hears.
I have two more. Yes, I do have people here. Calling page 117. This is also being heard in absentia. The address is 2899 Northwest 7th Avenue. Case number 000-78017. 2899. Okay. Calling
People that are
page
here, though, they've all been.
120. The address is 329 Southwest 9th Avenue.
We already heard 117. 120 is a reset.
Okay, sorry. Calling page 124. The address is 1721 Northwest 23rd Street, case number 000-60266. Address 1721 Northwest 23rd Street, page 124.
Inspector, state your name and official position.
This is to be heard, correct?
To be heard.
And they don't have any standing. Okay.
Okay,
Good evening, Board. This is Inspector Lezama, Central Office.
did you issue a citation to the property at 1721 Northwest 23rd Street?
That is correct.
Okay, and did you provide me with your file in this case?
That is correct.
And what we've marked as Exhibit A are your photographs of the violations as well as your research on the city's computer programs, iBuild.
That is correct.
Exhibit B are the records of the property appraiser, correct?
That is correct.
And Exhibit C are the official notices and summonses required by Florida law, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, we'd like to introduce A, B, and C into the record.
Submit it.
Okay, and this is no CU, no BTR, and failure to maintain the lot in a safe, clean condition, correct?
That is correct.
And you first cited this property August 16th of 2023, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, and the property continues to be in that condition.
Well, they got better, but as per this morning, I have some pictures taken that it should be there. The container is overflown and they need to work on the sidewalk, on the
Okay.
swell.
We're requesting guilty, 5 days to come into compliance, $500 a day thereafter until compliance is achieved.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
You have 5 days.
Okay. Thank you, Board.
Sorry, 5 days?
Yep, speak to the
That's it.
inspector.
Yep. That's to you.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Okay, I have someone here to, as a complaint. It is for page 28 in the code check agenda. It's to
Page
be
what?
heard. Page 28, address 1816 Southwest 23rd Street, case number 000-79563. Address 1816, sir. Southwest 23rd Street, page 28.
And you indicated that you have a complaining party?
The complaining party.
Okay, Inspector, state your name and official position.
Gustavo Maragildo, Compliance Southeast.
Did you issue a citation to the property at 1816 Southwest 23rd Street?
That is correct. Yes, I did.
Okay, and did you provide me with your file in this case?
Yes,
And what we've marked as Exhibit A are the photographs of the violation as well as your research on this matter, correct?
that is correct.
Exhibit B are the records of the property appraiser, correct?
Correct.
And Exhibit C are the official notices and summonses required by Florida law?
Yes.
Okay, we'd like to introduce A, B, and C into the record.
Submit it.
Okay, and you cited the property owner for mechanical equipment emitting unacceptable levels of noise. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yes.
And what was the noise? It's coming from the pool pump
From
and
the-
the AC?
From the pool, it's coming from the pool pump. Basically, I got the complaint from the gentleman that's here today. I mean, it's really loud. It's really loud, you know, and I feel for the gentleman next to me because I would not like to live next to that loud pool pump. Basically, I've never heard anything from the property owners. They were brought here last week regarding an Airbnb situation that was going on the same property that I brought in for today. So on top of the Airbnb, they also have a pool pump that is disturbing the neighbor's peace. And that's
Okay,
the reason.
so we'd like guilty, 5 days, $1,000 a day thereafter until compliance is achieved.
Does the gentleman, does he like to say anything that he's here and he's waited all this time?
Right.
I remember you were here last week. This is the Airbnb. They had a trailer, the party, the pool. They didn't let you sleep at night. So now you have a pool pump.
Right. The pump is like 35 feet away from the windows. in my
Name
bedroom.
for the record. His name?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, please state your name.
My name is 𝐂𝐢𝐭𝐲,
And address.
2300 Southwest 18th Avenue.
Thank you. So you were saying that the pump
So-
is right by your windows?
Pump is like 30 feet from my bedroom window. The windows have to be closed. Even if they're closed, you can hear the sound inside. So it's just continuously, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank
Nothing
you.
seems to be done.
I would recommend less than 5 days, even though the city recommends 5. This is an Airbnb. The owners are in New York City. They're not going to respond to you nor in 5 days.
Understood. Remember, part of the meeting that you had, sorry, I didn't mean to finger point, but part of the meeting that you had is when we finish our case here, I want to make absolutely certain that it's airtight and the possibilities of going to 11th Judicial Circuit are minimized.
Okay.
So if you give 0 days, we already gave them an NOV, right? The clock started ticking then. We now give them a summons, another opportunity to be heard, and now I'm giving them additional time. If you give 0 time or 1 day, they may challenge unreasonable time on their 162. So I'm trying to cover all ourselves.
Madam
when I
Chair,
do that.
remember the toolbox that we discussed.
Right, can we revert back the fines to the original date of the violation?
You could. That's
Okay.
that's within your toolbox.
That's something that I would recommend, and if I have a motion?
But
That is
So-
not,
again, to the
that
city.
is not,
No,
that is not part of the toolbox.
no, not yet.
Reverting back to the date of the violation is when it's a
repeat.
repeat violation.
So we
This
can't
is
do that
the
until he's a
first
repeat.
time this comes to us.
But we can put a much bigger fine after the 5 days.
After the 5 days, if they have not complied at a certain point, the inspector can go back and cite them as a repeat.
Okay, can we recommend, do you recommend $1,000 per diem?
She did.
That is what I
Okay,
did.
so.
No, but we can make that higher, can't we, or is that the max?
That is the max.
That's the
We'll
max?
make it 1,000, 5 days for
I'll make it
$1,000.
5 days, $1,000.
$500? We said
No,
1,000.
$1,000,
Oh,
excuse me,
great.
$1,000.
Thank you. Do I have a
500
second?
Second.
5
All in
days.
favor?
Aye.
Okay.
5 days, $1,000 per diem.
Okay.
And the inspector just has to keep an eye on it.
Have there been any more short-term rentals there? Okay, we're gonna go ahead and take this file and see what additional
Steps we can take.
steps can be taken, including a civil action, okay?
Okay.
Thank
Speak
you.
to the inspector. Maybe you can take pictures or something and prove that there's still people there.
Yeah, that would be good.
Thank you.
Actually, I have the noise.
Okay.
Okay, but take pictures if they still renting. as
Inspector,
Airbnb.
please come over. when you're
Next
finished.
case.
There are absentia cases. I don't have anybody else.
Okay.
That's it?
Okay, the first case is page 12, and the address is 536 Southwest 18th Avenue, page 12. Inspector Tyler, please state your name and official position.
After hours.
Did you issue a citation to the property at 536 Southwest 18th Avenue?
I did.
And did you provide me with your file in this case?
Yes.
And what we've marked as Exhibit A are the photographs and your research on the file, correct?
Correct.
Exhibit B are the records of the property appraiser, correct?
Correct.
And Exhibit C are the official notices and summonses required by Florida law, correct?
Correct.
We'd like to introduce A, B, and C into the record.
Submit it.
And Inspector, this is for failure to maintain the lot in a safe, clean condition, failure to register a vacant lot, and dumping, littering on the city's right-of-ways, sidewalks, and on private property, correct?
Correct.
We'd like to request guilty 5 days and $500 a day thereafter until compliance is achieved.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the next one that we have is page 18. The address is 1121 Northwest 2nd Street. Inspector, state your name and official position.
Russell Hernandez with the Southwest office.
Did you issue a citation to the property at 1121 Northwest 2nd Street?
Yes, ma'am.
And did you provide me with your file in this case?
I did.
And what we've marked as Exhibit A are the photographs as well as your research on the violations, correct?
Correct.
And Exhibit B are the records of the property appraiser, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And Exhibit C are the official notices and summonses required by Florida law.
Yes, ma'am.
We'd like to introduce A, B, and C into the record.
Submit it.
Thank you. And Inspector, you cited the property for failure to maintain the lot in a safe, clean condition and failure to register a vacant lot. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, we'd like to request guilty 5 days to come into compliance, $500 a day thereafter until compliance is achieved.
Do I have a motion?
Motion as stated.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the next one that I have, the address, it's page 33. The address is 2335 North Miami Avenue. Inspector, state your name and official position.
Marcelo Lazarique, Central Office.
Did you issue a citation to the property at 2335 North Miami Avenue?
Yes.
And did you provide me with your file in this case?
Yes.
And what we've marked as Exhibit A are the photographs and your research conducted on the violations, correct?
Correct.
Exhibit B are the records of the property appraiser, correct?
Correct.
And Exhibit C are the official notices and summonses required by Florida law, correct?
Correct.
Okay, we'd like to introduce A, B, and C into the record. Okay, and we're requesting a guilty finding, 5 days, $500 a day thereafter until compliance is achieved.
So move.
I can't make a
Move.
motion or vote because we can't see what's going on. There's no, when you're saying that there's records being entered, we're not seeing anything yet. They're a little delayed.
Hold on. It's
So
okay.
moved.
We'll show
Do I
you,
have a
we'll
second?
show you the
Second.
records.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the next one that I have is page 69. The address is 34 Northwest 29th Street. Inspector, state your name and official position.
Marcelo Lazarique, Central Office.
And did you issue a citation to the property at 34 Northwest 29th Street?
Yes.
And did you provide me with your file in this case?
Yes.
And what we've marked as Exhibit A are your photographs of the violations and your notes, correct?
Correct.
And Exhibit B are the records of the property appraiser, correct?
Correct.
And Exhibit C are the official notices and summonses required by Florida law.
Correct.
We'd like to introduce A, B, and C into the record.
Submit it.
Okay, thank you. This is a citation for failure to register a vacant lot, even though it's also not really being well kept.
Correct.
We're requesting guilty, 5 days to come into compliance, $500 a day thereafter until compliance is achieved.
Motion as stated.
Do I have a second?
Okay.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the next one that I have is page 75. The address is 61 Northeast 28th Street. Inspector, state your name and official position.
Marcelo Lazarique, Central Office.
And did you issue a citation to the property at 61 Northeast 28th Street?
Yes.
Okay, and did you provide me with your file in this case?
Yes.
And Exhibit A are the photographs and your notes regarding the violations on this property, correct?
Correct.
Exhibit B are the records of the property appraiser, correct?
Correct.
And Exhibit C are the official notices and summonses required by Florida law.
Correct.
We'd like to introduce A, B, and C into the record.
Admitted.
Thank you. And this violation was for failure to register a vacant lot, as well as outside storage of miscellaneous materials, equipment, debris. And did you also cite them for off-street parking?
No, that's for the construction site across the street.
Okay, thank you. So at this time, we're requesting a guilty finding, 5 days to come into compliance, $500 a day thereafter until compliance is achieved.
Motion as stated.
Second.
Okay, the next one,
Hold
that-
Sorry.
getting ahead of
We need to-
myself.
Aye.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Chairwoman, so Vice Chair, you need to.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay. It's okay.
Okay, the next one that I have is page 78. The address is 59 Northeast 28th Street. Inspector, state your name and official position.
Marcelo Lazarique, Central Office.
And did you issue a citation to the property at 59 Northeast 28th Street?
Correct.
And did you provide me with your file in this case?
Yes, I did.
And what we've marked as Exhibit A are the photographs of the violation as well as your notes regarding same, correct?
Yes.
Exhibit B are the records of the property appraiser?
Yes.
And Exhibit C are the notices and summonses required by Florida law.
Yes.
We'd like to introduce A, B, and C into the record.
Admitted.
Thank you. Inspector, you cited this property for failure to register a vacant lot and outside storage of miscellaneous materials, equipment, debris.
Correct. It's the second folio to the previous case.
Okay. And we're requesting guilty, 5 days to come into compliance, $500 a day thereafter until compliance is achieved.
Motion as stated.
Second.
Take a vote.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, the next one that we have is page 36. The address is 2320 Northwest 26th Street. Inspector, state your name. Oh, I don't know.
Hold on.
Tyler, Inspector, state your name and official
Page
position.
36, get up.
We've already done page 36.
Yeah, but yes.
Yes. Page 36?
Yeah, that was her. They pled guilty.
Yep.
You gave them 5
Oh, that was the
days.
one
That was the one that was
missing?
missing.
Okay, the next one is page 81. The address is 652 Northwest First Street. Inspector, state your name and official position.
Russell Hernandez with the Southwest office.
Did you issue a citation to the property at 652 Northwest First Street?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and did you provide me with your file on this case?
I did.
And what we've marked as Exhibit A are the photographs you obtained of the violations as well as your research and notes?
Yes, ma'am.
Exhibit B are the records of the property appraiser?
Correct.
And Exhibit C are the summonses and notices required by Florida law?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and we'd like to introduce A, B, and C into the record?
Submitted.
Okay, and Inspector, you cited the property for failure to maintain as well as outside storage, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and the corrective action is to pressure wash the exterior and paint the fence as appropriate, and also cut the overgrown grass and remove all trash, correct?
Correct.
Okay, we're requesting a guilty, 5 days to come into compliance, $500 a day thereafter. Wait. Anna Cummings.
I think it's a homestead.
Pardon?
I believe it's homesteaded.
All right, guilty, 5 days, $250 a day thereafter.
Motion as stated.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the next one that I have is page 84. The address is 1651 Northwest 3rd Street. Inspector, state your name and official position.
Russell Hernandez with the Southwest office.
Okay, did you issue a citation to the property at 1651 Northwest 3rd Street?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and you've provided me with your file in this case, correct?
Correct.
And what we've marked as Exhibit A are the photographs of the violations as well as your notes, correct?
Correct.
Exhibit B are the records of the property appraiser?
Yes, ma'am.
And Exhibit C are the official notices and summonses required by Florida law?
Correct.
We'd like to introduce A, B, and C.
Submitted.
Okay, and basically what you did was you cited them for failure to maintain and failure to register a vacant lot, correct?
Correct.
We're requesting a guilty, 5 days to come into compliance, $500 a day thereafter until compliance is achieved.
Motion as stated.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so bear with me. Page 88, Inspector, please state your name and official position. The address is 60 Northwest 12th Avenue.
Yes. Russell Hernandez with the Southwest office.
Okay, and did you issue a citation to the property at 60 Northwest 12th Avenue?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and did you provide me with your file in this case?
I did.
Okay, and what we've marked as Exhibit A are the photographs of the violation as well as your notes regarding same?
Correct.
Exhibit B are the records of the property appraiser?
Yes, ma'am.
And Exhibit C are the official notices and summonses required by Florida law, correct?
Correct.
We'd like to introduce A, B, and C into the record.
Submitted.
Okay, and this is for failure to maintain the lot, graffiti on the property, and failure to register a vacant structure?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, we're requesting a guilty, 5 days to come into compliance, $500 a day thereafter until compliance is achieved.
If I may, they do have an active demolition permit, so the property is currently being demolished. They're pretty much probably 90% of the way to
So they
complete
can do it in
demolition,
5 days. Yeah.
yeah.
Motion as stated.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the next one is page 95. The address is 3622 Northeast 2nd Avenue. Inspector, state your name and official position.
Inspector Tiana Hallman, Central.
Okay, did you issue a citation to the property at 3622 Northeast 2nd Avenue?
Yes.
Okay, and did you provide me with your file in this case?
Yes.
Okay, and what we've marked as Exhibit A are the photographs of the violation, your email exchanges, as well as your research on this case?
Yes.
Exhibit B are the records of the property appraiser?
Yes.
And Exhibit C are the official notices and summonses required by Florida law, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and we'd like to introduce A, B, and C into the record.
Submitted.
Okay, and Inspector, this is for failure to maintain failure to keep the property and adjoining public areas free of bulky waste and garbage and trash, as well as failure to register a vacant structure. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, we'd like to request a guilty finding, 5 days, $500 a day thereafter until compliance is achieved.
Motion as stated.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the next one is page 106. Inspector, state your name and official position for the record.
Steven Jimenez with the Southeast Office.
Okay, did you issue a citation to the property at 3558 Charles Avenue?
Yes,
Okay, and did you provide me with your file in this case?
yes, I did.
And what we've marked as Exhibit A is your research on the city's computer systems, as well as the email exchanges regarding the violations and your photographs of the violation, correct?
Correct,
Exhibit B are the records of the property appraiser, correct?
correct,
And Exhibit C are the notices and summonses required by Florida law, correct?
yes.
Okay, we'd like to introduce A, B, and C into the record.
Submit it.
Inspector, you cited them for outside storage of miscellaneous materials, as well as a travel trailer that's not permitted.
Correct,
Okay, we're requesting a guilty finding, 5 days to come into compliance, and $500 a day thereafter until compliance is achieved.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Okay, the next one is page 109. The address is 3566 Charles Avenue. Inspector, state your name and official position.
Steven Jimenez with the Southeast Office.
Okay, and did you issue a citation to the property at 3566 Charles Avenue?
Yes,
Okay, and did you provide me with your file in this case?
yes,
All right, and what we've marked as Exhibit A is your research on the city's computer systems, as well as the photographs that you obtained of the property, correct?
correct,
Exhibit B are the records of the property appraiser, correct?
yes,
And Exhibit C are the notices and summonses required by Florida law.
correct.
Okay, we'd like to introduce A, B, and C into
Submit
the
it.
record. Okay, Inspector, did you say yes? Madam
Submit
Chair?
it.
Submit it, okay. And Inspector, you cited them for failure to maintain, correct?
Correct,
We're requesting guilty, 5 days, $250 a day thereafter until compliance is achieved.
Motion as stated.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, the next one that I have is page 122. The address is 735 Southwest 2nd Street. Inspector, state your name and official position.
𝐂𝐢𝐭𝐲 in good compliance.
Okay, and did you issue a citation to the property at 735 Southwest 2nd Street?
Yes, I did.
Okay, and did you provide me with your file in this case?
Yes,
And what we've marked as Exhibit A are your personal notes, as well as your research in the city's computer systems and the photographs you obtained of the violation, correct?
yes,
Exhibit B are the records of the property appraiser, correct?
yes,
And Exhibit C are the notices and summonses required by Florida law, correct?
correct.
Okay, we'd like to introduce A, B, and C into the record.
Submitted.
Okay, and the address is 735 Southwest 2nd Street. You cited them for no CU, no BTR, correct?
Correct.
We'd like a guilty, 5 days, $500 a day thereafter.
Motion as stated.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and the last to be heard is 3663 Frau Avenue,
Page.
page 128.
Elizabeth, I'm sorry. Can you take a look, but after that one? Page 15.
120. Oh,
After that.
oh, okay.
Okay, do I continue? Okay. Hey, Inspector, did you issue a citation? Well, first of all, did you state your name already?
Inspector Mevin, Southeast Office.
Okay, and did you issue a citation to the property at 3663 Frau Avenue?
Correct.
All right, and did you provide me with your file in this case?
Yes.
And what we've marked as Exhibit A are your photographs of the violations, as well as your notes regarding same, correct?
Correct.
Exhibit B are the records of the property appraiser, correct?
Correct.
And Exhibit C are the notices and summonses required by Florida law, correct?
Correct.
Okay, we would like to introduce A, B, and C into the record.
Submit it.
Okay, and Inspector, you cited them for failure to register a vacant lot and outside storage, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, and this is not homestead property, correct?
Correct.
Okay, we would like to request a guilty finding, 5 days to come into compliance, $500 a day thereafter until compliance is achieved.
I'll move.
Second.
All in favor?
Okay, so just for the record, we did not have anybody show up on 644 Northeast 82nd Terrace, which apparently is a mitigation. We did not have anybody show up on 3471 Grand Avenue, also a mitigation. And we did not have anybody show on page 164, 3441 Grand Avenue, also a mitigation. And page 1